Kinetics. Call 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
I'm Carrie Champion, and this is Season 4 of Naked Sports. Up first, I explore the making of a rivalry. Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese.
Every great player needs a foil.
People are talking about women's basketball just because of one single game.
I just come here to play basketball every single day.
Clark and Reese have changed the way we consume women's sports. Listen to The Making of a Rivalry, Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search The Making of a Rivalry, Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese, and start listening.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
Live from the Ingalls Studio.
I can't wait to play with myself every day.
The Sportsocracy.
Damn the devil to hell!
Let the big dogs eat! Let them on the field!
Come get you some of this.
Fire them cannons! By golly, put more powder in those things.
He couldn't take any more disappointment.
Oh my God. The Jets killed him.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400. The Sportsocracy, also heard everywhere you go on the iHeart Radio app. Seen everywhere on the YouTubes. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link, subscribe to the channel, and welcome into and so you can join us in the chat. I like being in stereo. It's my favorite.
Do you just want to play the show back 30 seconds behind whatever we said?
That's my favorite part of the program. It is your daily dose of dumbassery here in the Sportsocracy, and it is it's what, a Fix It Wednesday? Is that what we're calling this?
It's fixable or fraud. I feel like that almost feels like the name of a really bad game show.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Deal
Fixable or fraud.
Slow starts in the NFL for several teams, so we'll talk about each one throughout the program today. Who can be fixed, who will not be fixed. We'll talk with the great Kent Briggs. He'll be joining us here in the studio at 12:30. Talk some football with him. Maybe he's got some ideas on how to fix some of these teams because, if the teams had any idea how to fix it, they would have already.
Well, I mean, the first team that we have to try to fixable is, how about them Cowboys?
What can you get Jerry Jones gone? Like that's the question they've been asking themselves for quite some time now. Because I feel like everybody's done with this. This morning I was doing the sports over on 570 WWNC, and I'm putting together my sports cast, and I used the soundbite of him from the radio show yesterday where they presented to the first thing they said out of the gate to him was, hey, the TV show put up a poll and 70% of the fans that responded blame you for their problems. And he went, well, do it.
Well, could be my fault. I guess I am the one drafting the players.
And Mark Starling looked over at me without me saying a word about who that was. He went, was that Jerry Jones?
Jerry!
He doesn't know anything about football, and he knows Jerry Jones's voice. That is a bad sign. It's always been a bad sign. And Jerry just can't get out of his own way. He has to create drama at every level, and now they have worked themselves into a labyrinth of losing that I don't think is ever going to come to an end, at least not under this administration.
Well, I mean, the funny thing is that, yes, Jerry is the problem with this current construct, but it's because of the players he's put on the field. We said this for 3 months before the season started. If you think you're going into this season, we love Rico Dowdle, the pride of whichever school he went to around here, because I know it's one of them. I just don't ever remember which one it was. He's the leading rusher on the team. Do you know how many rushing yards he has through 3 games? Take a stab at it, Tanker.
Who is it?
Rico Dowdle.
53.
You're too low, but not by nearly as much as you'd like to be. 54? It's 88. 23 carries for 88 yards. Ezekiel Elliott, 19 carries for 62 yards. Shoe buddy.
That's bad.
That is horrifically bad. You cannot win in the NFL being this unbalanced. It was a very predictable problem going into the season, and it's a problem now because you're putting everything on Dak Prescott, who is currently leading the NFL in passing yards. It's not sustainable. This construct is not sustainable.
The only way to fix it is to have better players at this point. I don't know what adjustment you're expecting to come from Mike McCarthy and Mike Zimmer to fix both sides of the ball.
Would you like to hear a list of players that would currently be the leading rusher for the Dallas Cowboys? Jaden Reed, who's a wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers. Braylon Allen, who has 19 total carries for the New York Jets. Carson Steele, that nobody really knew who he was until a week ago, and his name sounds like he should be the title actor in a soap opera.
What is the biggest impediment to running the football? Not having any blockers. And that's where the Dallas Cowboys sit right now. That was one of the big problems that Jeremy had about this team coming into the season was you got this young offensive line that's all kind of makeshift. Right, the stars of yesteryear are getting older, and these new guys, we don't know what you are. Terrence Steele hasn't been good.
Terrence Steele, also someone that sounds like could be the lead actor in a soap opera.
Tyler Guyton has been terrible.
Awful.
Zach Martin looks old and lumbering.
He's been fine. He just hasn't been himself.
Well, but that's kind of the point. Like, he's 38 years old or whatever. He may be 36 or something, but he's old.
He's younger than that.
Is he really?
He'll be 34 in 2 months.
My bad. 34. Still, elder statesman of the offensive line. It just hasn't come together. They're not making holes. They're not protecting well. I mean, what do you expect Rico and Ezekiel to do?
Well, one of the things that has always been a tenet for me, and it's one of the ways that I've been pretty accurate on teams that are going to be god-awful and teams that are going to be good. What do you hang your hat on? All right, when you built this team and you looked at the roster and you had the roster in the board, if you watched the offseason thing with the Giants, and you've got the big board on the wall of all the players that you have, what was the thing that you're looking at going, this is what I know we're going to be able to do well week in and week out? What is that for the Dallas Cowboys?
CeeDee Lamb. We CeeDee Lamb really well.
And he's been okay. You Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. There's nothing else there. Jake Turd Ferguson gets hurt and weird. The Cowboys have looked terrible for 2 weeks. Outside of one quarter.
And then you heard Micah Parsons after the game on Sunday. Everybody else needs to know what the hell they're doing. I can't do it all. I would love to do it all, but I can't do it all.
I'm looking at PFF grades right now. And I've always said PFF is not infallible. It's just a quantifiable way for me to look at this. Micah Parsons is in the top 10% of edge rushers. Can you name me another player on this defense that's even been good? I'll go ahead and tell you it was a trick question.
No.
Eric Kendricks is he's 21st among 77 linebackers. Damone Clark is okay. Other than that, Mozzie Smith, there's one defensive tackle in the NFL that's graded worse than him. Odighi Zua, he's right down there with him. DeMarcus Lawrence, right down there with him. Trayvon Diggs, everything I told you he was, and Kalen Carson may have been worse. The defense is not good. Defensively, you cannot stop people. The Saints, I think it was cousin Colin Green that said his Saints went into Jerry World and threw a Diddy party, which, good for you. Little less baby oil, same basic tenet. Are the Dallas Cowboys fixable in the 2024 season?
No.
I agree with you. I don't even think they're better than Washington. We did power rankings yesterday. I had the Cowboys, 1 or 2 spots ahead of Washington?
Yes.
I have changed my mind on that.
I mean, Washington only needs – for me, I'm still – Dallas is better. There's more opportunity there, I think.
What are they better at?
What are they?
Are they better
at
at quarterback? Because I don't think so.
You think Jaden Daniels is better than Dak Prescott right now?
If I had to pick one of those two guys for the next 14 games, it would be Jaden Daniels, and I wouldn't think twice. If for nothing else, because of how multifaceted he is, and he can beat you multiple different ways.
Right.
Dak can't. Dak's very highly paid. He's way more veteran. He's also peaked.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it. Dak throws for 4,800 yards, and guess what? The Cowboys still aren't that good.
Yep.
They go to the playoffs and get smoked like a deli meat.
Well, one's got the worst pass defense, one's got the worst run defense. I guess you're just – I mean, they're very close together. I still got Dallas a tick ahead of them. You keep Washington keeps playing like that, then it's not going to be long. Hell, I said yesterday, we might need to start thinking about Washington's going to win this division. If the Eagles are going to keep stepping on their own toes with Nick Sirianni, and the Dallas Cowboys –
they're poorly coached.
Yeah, and the Dallas Cowboys are just going down in flames.
Do you see the irony in this?
Who's left?
Do you see the irony in the fact that Washington, with the Cowboys' former defensive coordinator as their head coach, the defense is not talented, and it gives up a lot of yardage? It's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's good enough. They lost week 1 to your Buccaneers, and I said as soon as I got a microphone in front of me, that was not as big of a blowout as it looked. They struggled to stop Mike Evans. They struggled to stop Chris Godwin. But other than that, that game looked pretty close to me in terms of sheer talent. The Cowboys have regressed gruesomely. Mike Zimmer is not a good defensive coordinator. He might be the best wingman on earth because he a dog.
Are they still together?
I don't know. Guess what? If they're not, I bet he found another one that's about 27 because he got that dog in him. Other than that, I don't know what it is that you hang your hat on.
Yeah.
You can't run. You can't salt away games. You get behind. I know exactly what you're trying to do, and you wind up with Brandon Cooks and Jalen Tolbert and Luke Schoonmaker. Sorry, that ain't scaring me.
No.
In a conference that has Jamison Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta and Jahmyr Gibbs on one team, you're not even in their ballpark. You don't even look like their minor league system. You can keep telling me, we them boys. You are them boys. The problem is that you're playing in a league with grown men, and they're treating you like boys.
Yeah.
And they're going to continue to. I told you going into the season, I don't think this team wins 8 games, and I still don't. I still do not think this team.
They're going to have to figure out a way to stop the run, and because if you can't, I mean, you will. It will not shock me to see them lose on Thursday night.
I was just getting ready to say the exact same thing. Do you know what the line?
I mean, tell me
is?
that couldn't be good enough. They do the New York Giants do the same thing to them that they did last week to the Cleveland Browns. My pass rush is getting home because your tackles suck, right? Tyler Guyton's not been good. Terrence Steele ain't been good. Offensive line's having a lot of problems. Maybe we get pressure. Devin Singletary and what's the young kid's name? The rookie running back, the backup running back, Tyrone Tracy.
Tyrone Tracy, yeah.
Tyrone Tracy Jr. That guy had like 5 touches last week and averaged like 7 yards a touch.
Yeah, he
will
be the starter for the
right. At some point, they're going to figure this out, and they're going to go, wait a minute, we're coming in against a Dallas Cowboys team that can't stop nobody. I mean, Devin Singletary may not be the best in the world, but this may be good enough to beat them.
What am I getting ready to
Tracy?
Say? You know where I fall in all arguments like this. Who is the truth serum? Vegas. Right now for tomorrow night's game with the New York Giants, that started as a 5-point Cowboy lean.
Mm-hmm.
How much of the money do you think's on Dallas right now? Knowing that Cowboy fans are notorious for betting up lines.
I'm going to go 39%.
90% is on the Dallas
on
Cowboys.
The Cowboys?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting.
That line's moved half a point. What does that tell you? That tells you Vegas is sitting back going, my God, they're doing it again. They're doing it again on a Thursday night with I like Brian Daboll. I think he's a good coach. I just don't think he has very many players.
Yeah.
And I would wager they're asking the same question I'm asking. Who is going to stop Malik Neighbors from doing anything he wants to do?
Precisely.
The Cleveland Browns couldn't do it. How are the Dallas Cowboys going to do it?
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. I'll go ahead and tell you. I'm taking the Giants not necessarily to win, but to cover.
Plus the 5.5.
Plus 5.5. I'll take it all day. This Cowboy team's just not good.
That was my first reaction when I saw it. And the more and more we see the chirping going on, all of the apologizing in the media, that stuff all has an effect. It's going to take the most mentally tough season that Dak Prescott and Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb have ever had to go through, because they are the three-headed monster on this team that everybody is looking at to say, y'all need to win some games. And I feel like, to a point, all three of them can go, I'm doing my job, but I can't do it if the rest of the team sucks around me. Right? Dak can only be as good as his protection. He can only be as good as CeeDee Lamb allows him to be. CeeDee was in the media today talking about, I let my team down with the drop pass that he had and also had a fumble in the game. Everybody's like taking ownership here, but nobody's got a fix. Nobody's got a solution.
Let me ask you a question. Name me a good team that you really trust. It can be any team, so don't feel like you're aiming too high. All right. Kansas City Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the 22-man roster of the Dallas Cowboys that starts week in, week out. 11 on offense, 11 on defense.
Mm-hmm.
How many of those players would start for the Kansas City Chiefs?
CeeDee Lamb.
There's one.
Micah Parsons.
There's two. If you get to three, I'm going to call you an idiot. Straight up. If you get to a third, I will call you out of your mind. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You've drafted so poorly, and you look up and down at the few players that you actually can trust have been guys you hit in the mid-rounds. You hit on Damone Clark because there were teams that took him completely off the board because they thought he would never play. Outside of that, you just don't have a lot of wins. And that's where I wanted to go with this. Jerry talks about the poll of I'm the problem. You are the problem.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not what everybody makes it out to be. It's not Jerry the owner. Jerry the owner is an idiot. We all know that. Guess what? He was in 1995, too, when they were winning Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the problem. The problem is that Jerry thinks he's smarter than the football people. So he falls in love with a Mozzie Smith. He falls in love with a Trayvon Diggs. He falls in love with all of these players that didn't make a whole lot of sense. Tyler Guyton, I saw at the Senior Bowl for a full week, and I said, you know what? 3 years from now, that kid's going to be good, but he shouldn't touch a field this year. And I love him in a move system a la the Miami Dolphins. That ain't what the Cowboys do, and they started him immediately. I probably couldn't name you 5 people in the industry that would have done that. But Jerry does it. And every single year, he's so damn loyal, which is why Ezekiel Elliott is his running back again, and he believes in guys. The NFL is a business. If you start roping this into personal friendships and loyalties and things like that, you're going to be the Dallas Cowboys. You'll have some hits. CeeDee Lamb was a hit. Dak Prescott was a hit for where he was drafted. He should not be the starting quarterback of this team because you're stuck, and you're stuck for 4 more years now because you just re-signed him. Yeah, Jerry's the problem, but it's Jerry the GM, not Jerry the owner.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. Fixable or fraud? Who else has major problems? We'll continue the discussion up next.
For a limited time, y'all, this is just going on till the end of September. You can get the lowest price in Western North Carolina on Invisalign treatment at Asheville Smiles Cosmetic and Family Dentistry. You can transform your smile with $1,500 off your Invisalign treatment, free 3D smile scan, panoramic x-ray, Sonicare electric toothbrush, and 1 set of retainers. Get scheduled before this deal ends by calling 828-251-2426 or check them out online at AshevilleSmiles.com.
Hello, parents. It's Mr. Jim, and I want to invite your kids to listen to Kids Short Stories. You see, kids all around the world listen to Kids Short Stories and send in their ideas, and every single day, I create a brand new story about them finding treasure, stopping the bad guy, or flying on a unicorn. If you're looking to cut down on screen time, search for Mr. Jim. So listen to Kid Short Stories on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Did you know you can now use your body's own healing properties to revitalize your achy joints and get real lasting pain relief? I'm talking about advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. If you're tired of arthritic pain in your knees, hips, back, or shoulder, this is something you need to check out. Everybody's talking about regenerative medicine, and the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics are experts in these amazing treatments. People here rave about the results. You can enhance your joints, improve mobility, and get back to doing the stuff you love without pain and without drugs or surgery or downtime. Under the leadership of Medical Director Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting breakthrough using cellular therapies. They've got tens of thousands of satisfied patients, and the consultation is totally free. So call now. Take action to get lasting joint pain relief with help from QC Kinetics. Call 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
The season we've all been waiting for is here. No, not that one. The season of the Big Orange Tent is underway in Western North Carolina. The area's largest selection of Halloween costumes, decorations, and accessories is at the Big Orange Tent at the Asheville Mall. Halloween Express is your one-stop shop for adult and child costumes, superheroes, horror icons, inflatable suits. You can find it all under the Big Orange Tent at the Asheville Mall. 10 to 8 Monday through Saturday, 12 to 6 on Sundays.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. Download our free app on Google Play or the App Store. Type in Asheville Home Search. You'll be able to connect with our team and see all the available homes for sale in our area. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
This summer, Dale's Pale Ale salutes freedom. Freedom in fabric, or the fabric of freedom. Denim Dales available for a limited time in the blue jean box. Dale's salutes everyone who works hard, plays hard, and relaxes hard. Life's more than about what you pack in your denim. Though, we're packing beer, so we win. Seize the Dales. Unwind in style with a cool breeze up the jorts. Just look for the beer in the blue jean box.
The Sportsocracy.
So you are a regular nuclear meltdown. You better cool off.
It is ESPN Asheville. This is the Sportsocracy. Fixable or fraud? Whose slow start can be fixed in this early stage of the NFL season?
We have our first super chat of the day. Yeah! It's from our buddy Soaring Eagle, who said, "Do you want more damning info on Trevor Lawrence?" Reference the image that he sent to me on Twitter, which I am doing as we speak. Do you realize how close Trevor Lawrence and Daniel Jones actually are to each other?
Statistic-wise?
Mm-hmm. Trevor Lawrence throws for about 400 more yards a year.
Mm-hmm.
His completion percentage is 1 percentage point worse.
Mm-hmm. Worse. Rushes for about 75 yards less a year. QBR is 1.5 lower. He has 6 less touchdowns and 2 less interceptions. Yikes.
If Trevor Lawrence was not named Trevor Lawrence, he would already be sitting. Which takes us to Fixable or Fraud, the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I don't think we're going to agree on this.
Really?
Nope.
I mean, I don't think this is fixable.
I do.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
How do you fix it?
Trevor's still not – he's still a talented quarterback. He's not broken.
Okay.
This system is just laughably stupid for him. The solution is simple. You fire Doug Peterson right now. If it's not fixable for this year, it's fixable down the line. To me, there is a big difference. People always hear me say that Trevor Lawrence is a bust, and they think that I'm saying he's not talented. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying, a la Sam Darnold, he's been put in a horror-awful situation. The 1 year he was really successful, his division was awful. Does it not strike you as strange that all 3 teams in that division were bad in that year? The team wasn't great.
Mm-hmm.
They were fool's gold. Because Trent Baalke is one of, if not the worst personnel evaluators in the NFL. Just look around at the weapons he has. Is Travis Etienne a good NFL running back?
No.
Really. Do they have a good NFL receiver on that team?
No,
not really. Christian Kirk's paid like a star. He doesn't play like a star.
No, he doesn't. I'd say he's a nice piece, but I said when they gave him that money that was way too much money.
The Jacksonville Jaguars need to absolutely clean house. Trent Baalke is not going to be the GM of this team in a year. Mm-hmm. He's not. You can't screw this up to this point and get to keep your job. Doug Peterson's not going to be the coach of this team. I feel very sure of that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the greatest belief in Press Taylor, and I never really have. But what if this is Doug? If it's Doug, there's not a whole lot you can do about it other than hand somebody else play calling duties and hope to God that Press can make it his own.
That's why I said I don't think this is fixable, because I don't think you can do that in a year. I don't think there's somebody on this staff that you can just hand it over to and they go, oh, now it clicks. Now we're just going to pick up a new system, or their motivation is better, because when you do that, system stays pretty much the same, doesn't it?
Do you remember when the Carolina Panthers placed Steve Wilkes in as the interim coach when they fired Matt Rule?
I do.
And that team all of the sudden looked revitalized.
Yep. They showed a little fire.
There's somebody on that staff that these guys believe in. Who that is, I don't know. I know who I think it would be. For me, it's Chris Richard. I always thought he got screwed. He should have been an NFL head coach somewhere. You know what? He's a Johnny Rah-Rah guy.
That comes around.
I never said he did.
He's already turned down a couple of situations that may be better than this. Because even the Carolina position last year, you could make an argument to me that was a better situation.
Do it.
Than being in on this.
Do it. Make that argument. And I'll go ahead and tell you, you ain't going to get 2 sentences in before I laugh at you. Please tell me how Carolina's a better situation.
Than Jacksonville?
Yes.
Well, I'm at step 0 now with my quarterback.
No, you're not, because you still have a first overall pick that you can't just walk away from that easily.
I don't know that I can.
Okay,
I've walked away with everything.
Who are you going to replace him with? Quinn Ewers, who can't stay healthy. Carson Beck, who can't do the most mundane thing humanly possible.
Maybe so.
You're telling me you take that over Trevor Lawrence?
It's not going to be him. That's all I'm saying. It's not going to be Bryce Young.
And Trevor Lawrence is better than any of the options you have there.
Yeah, but now my franchise is locked into it. And what if this is the bad? What if this is the bust situation that we think it is?
With everything you're saying right here, the only thing I can hear in my mind is that Family Guy where Peter goes to Let's Make a Deal. Well, you can have a boat or you can have the mystery box. And he goes, but the boat's a boat, but the mystery box could be anything. It could even be a boat. That's what I just heard. Carolina's not even close to Jacksonville. I'm not saying Jacksonville's a good situation.
Right.
Carolina's the worst one in the NFL, and it's not even close.
How is Jacksonville much better?
Because I know who my quarterback is. And I actually do think he's a talented kid that has never is fact or fiction. He's more talented than Jared Goff.
Sure. Better NFL quarterback.
That for me, that wasn't even debatable. Jared Goff was broken when he came to Detroit. Ben Johnson fixed him. There's no debate in that. I get a better piece of clay to work with in Jacksonville than I got in Detroit. Now, do you have an Amon-Ra St. Brown? No, you don't.
No, you don't. Do you have an offensive line that's worth a damn? No, you don't. That's the thing. You don't have anything to support that kid. You don't have much to support Trevor Lawrence, and that's why I say I don't think there's a genius offensive mind going to go, yeah, let's saddle ourselves with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
And my argument would be, what other job are you going to saddle yourself to that's going to open up? I get to deal with kooky Jerry Jones in Dallas. I'm going to say I'll pass.
Yeah.
And I would take Jacksonville over Dallas in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even think about it. Not only do I also have a mediocre, crazy overpaid quarterback, I have 2 players that I think are big-time NFL players.
Mm-hmm. He should take Baker Mayfield and come to Tampa Bay after we fire Todd Bowles. How about that?
You're not going to fire Todd Bowles.
Oh, please.
You're not going to fire Todd Bowles.
Please.
You're not going to fire Todd Bowles.
Yeah.
All right, so you're saying Jacksonville's a fraud and unfixable.
Absolutely.
I am fully of the belief that if you got rid of Doug Peterson, you would get fired coach bump. I believe it would be Chris Richard, and you would see a much better product on the field. They've quit on Doug Peterson. You don't get beat 47-10 on Monday Night Football when you haven't quit.
Mm-hmm.
That is the primetime game. You're the Jacksonville Jaguars. You don't get many of those. You don't get beat like that if you're not just rolling over and dying.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. We'll have Kent Briggs coming up in the studio with us after this.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Showers, thunderstorms this afternoon, separate from our tropical system. Still could be some heavier downpours, 75. But I really think as we go on through tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, and maybe even into a part of Friday, widespread rain and thunderstorms around. At times, some locally heavy rainfall that could produce some significant flooding in spots. We'll have a severe weather element, too, along with some gusty winds outside of storms. From the Weather Channel, I'm Ray Stajic.
This report is sponsored by First Restoration Services.
Fire, flood, wind damage, arguably a homeowner's worst nightmare. For nearly 4 decades, First Restoration Services have been helping people recover from disasters with trust, integrity, speed, and quality. If you have a disaster, call them today, 1-800-537-6151, or online at frs247.com.
The biggest headliners in live music shared the stage this past weekend at our 2024 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One.
Big Sean,
Camila Cabello, Doja Cat, Dua Lipa, Gwen Stefani, Halsey,
Hosier, Keith Urban,
New Kids on the Block, Paramore,
Shabuzi, The Black Crowes, The Weeknd, Thomas Rhett,
Victoria Monet,
Chris from the band Coldplay.
This lineup for this festival is nuts.
The iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Get ready to relive the once-in-a-lifetime moments starting October 7th, only on Hulu.
Take advantage of Zero Res Carpet and Air Ducts Cleaning Fall Savings Event for 20% off all cleaning services. Carpets, air ducts, area rugs, and more, all 20% off for a limited time. Mention this station to use code 20OFF online at ZeroResAsheville.com. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards, it's the right way to clean.
What's up, sandwich heads? Today on Steve-O's Sandwich Reviews, we've got the tips and tricks to the best sandwich order. And it all starts with this little guy right here. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Partial to pastrami, craving a Cubano. Yeah, sounds delicious, but boom! Add the crisp, refreshing taste of Pepsi Zero Sugar and cue the fireworks. Lunch, dinner, or late night, it'll be a sandwich worth celebrating. Trust me, your boy's eaten a lot of sandwiches in his day, and the one thing I can say with absolute fact, every bite is better with Pepsi.
Haywood EMC, your local Touchstone Energy Cooperative, is powering a brighter future for our community by offering college scholarships, education grants, athletic camps, and much more. Serving the rural residents of Western North Carolina with affordable, reliable, safe services and open communications for over 80 years. Learn all of the ways Haywood EMC is working in the community at haywoodemc.com/community.
It's time to kick off the perfect tailgate and take your team to Ingles. Chips and guac made fresh in store every day. The best meat in town packaged fresh every day. And smiling faces giving you their best every day. Let's be real. In the South, football season is our favorite season of the year. There's a lot to smile about, especially with deals like these. Ingles. Low prices, love the savings.
Do better, be better every day. That's the Parks Promise. This is JW with Parks Fort Hendersonville, and I'm so excited to introduce our first Parks Promise community hero, the American Red Cross of Western North Carolina. The need for blood is so important, and in the summer months, the need is even greater. Did you know that you can donate every 56 days? Save lives this summer. Head to redcross.org to schedule an appointment or find a blood drive near you. Congratulations to the American Red Cross, our Parks Promise community hero.
The Sportsocracy.
Why are you smiling? Because I love football.
We're back in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. And you can hear us everywhere you go on the iHeartRadio app. We welcome back into the program the resident coach of the Sportsocracy, Kent Briggs, joining us, the subject of our Regular Guy podcast that you can find on the Spotify right now. All the links up on our social medias as well, and you can find him on Facebook at The Regular Guy. Coach Kent Briggs, state champion head football coach, former quarterback of the Western Carolina Catamounts, head coach of the Catamounts as well. Welcome back into the program, my friend.
Hey, great being here. Always enjoy what y'all do, so glad to be a part of it for a short amount of time.
Yeah, our latest episode of the Regular Guy podcast will be coming out tonight. It will be all centered around, Kent, your relationship with the legendary head coach of the Catamounts, Bob Waters.
Oh, yeah, well, I think this episode for me is really special because Coach Waters meant so much to me, but, with so many people. And I'm hoping that if you do listen to it, I feel like you'll get a really good feel about some things that you don't really read about, and there's some really important things of the way he was and the way he mentored, and the everlasting influence he had on so many people.
I've loved doing this project with you, Kent, and learning all about Coach Waters has been fascinating because I didn't know much about him. I was too young to be locked into Western Carolina football in the years that you were coaching there, and the story of Bob Waters fighting ALS and all of the things that he had to go through to stay on the football field and keep coaching was just incredible.
Right, people, a lot of times, they see it from from what they saw in a written, thing, and because it has been several years, past, but it still means so much to Western Carolina now. And there's Bob Waters Fields, and I teach a coaching class, and I have football players in there. So I try to really share the history of Coach Waters and why the field is Bob Waters Field. But, because they wasn't there, and they were young, and maybe not even born yet, maybe in some cases. But the bottom line is Western Carolina's heritage, and we're all connected. If you're a Catamount, you're a Catamount for life, and that connection of past, how it hooks into the present and the future is really important. Mm-hmm. And I think this story about him could be, it could be a bunch of episodes. I'm just kind of, like at the tip of the iceberg. But I do hope that I can share some things that probably people wouldn't know, that, obviously, from afar or even watching from the stands, you just don't know the things, the background that kind of happens in a football relationship with players and coaches.
Well, check out our Regular Guy podcast with Coach Kent Briggs. Again, all of the links up on our socials at the Sportsocracy, and you can also go and friend the coach on Facebook. You can find him. I think it's the Regular Guy, Coach Kent Briggs.
I'm definitely new to that. What does that mean?
We're trying to get you up with the time.
Oh yeah, I haven't been a Facebook person, but anyway, I'm trying to catch up after all these years.
Anyhow, let's talk some football here. We've been talking a lot about quarterbacks in the NFL, but before we get into that part of it, I want to ask you a little bit about college football. If you were, by chance, at some point, the defensive coordinator for the NC State Wolfpack, how would you have handled a situation like Saturday against the Clemson Tigers when your team finds themselves down 21-0 within 6 minutes of the game?
Right.
How do you handle that?
You mean as a defensive coach?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, you go into a game with a game plan, obviously, and you have plan A, plan B, plan C. And games like that, you're probably working on plan C pretty quick. You're trying to adjust because really the game is about adjusting. And the teams that adjust, especially at halftime, is really the difference in the end. And, coaches that can do that, they have a plan that maybe have experience when you're in those situations is really very beneficial. And that's why experience a lot of times as a coach is so important. And obviously, as you go through something like that, if you haven't been through it before, well, it's definitely a learning experience. Obviously I don't have any answers more than what they had, as the game, flowed. But you just try to find a way to change the momentum. And it usually ends up with a turnover or a special teams play that can turn the tide, and that didn't happen. So, it just kept on rolling. They just kept on rolling. But again, like I said, a few weeks ago, I felt like Clemson, and I said, about Dabo, I said, he's going to have it back on track, and I think they're playing with a lot of confidence. And, of course, they're playing in that stadium. I know it's such a big advantage for them. So they kind of hit the perfect storm, really.
Yeah. They steamrolled Appalachian State and then did the same thing to NC State this past weekend.
Now they get Stanford and Florida State, which second verse,
same
as the first.
They're going to hurt some feelings over the next few weeks as Cade Klubnik now looks like the quarterback that everybody wanted him to be when he first came in.
That's true. That's true. And, a lot of people, were frustrated with him and was frustrated with the offense and, the coordinator and Dabo. And that's natural because if you care about a program like Clemson, fans do, you're very passionate. So when things are not going good, you're going to be very passionate about that, and you want something to change. And I know he had a lot of, kind of heat on him, but, seeing him evolve through that, I think that's very typical of a lot of great quarterbacks is early in their career, battling through a lot of different issues and kind of growing pains and just situations that really are out of your control, getting a handle on it and working through it, maturing and staying tough enough mentally that you keep on doing what is right and keep progressing. And I think that's what happened to him. I think now he's a lot more mature quarterback. And again, you look at some of the greats, how they started, and quarterback's a hard position. And in fact, it's probably that and defensive back are the two, most visible, positions that when mistakes happen, everybody knows it.
Talking with our regular guy head coach, Kent Briggs. Yes, you were the defensive coordinator at NC State for a time in your career. You were the head coach. You were also defensive coordinator at UConn. You were also a head coach with Western Carolina. You were head coach with the Cherokee Braves in the high school ranks. Have you ever been so upset by a loss that you went into the locker room and told your team you were going to quit? Because apparently that's what Mac Brown did in Chapel Hill this week.
Okay. I knew that topic was coming because it's everywhere, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a tremendous amount of respect for Coach Brown. Mm-hmm. In fact, he is the most positive person, in coaching just about. When we played them, when he first got to Carolina, we'd beat them when I was at NC State, we'd beat them 45-7. For the couple first years, we dominated, Carolina. And we'd watch the coaches show the next day expecting him to really feel bad and, really look, like, oh my gosh, we're in trouble, whatever. And by the time we got through the show, we thought we lost. He could turn everything into something positive. And for that to happen to him was, very, very unusual. But at the same time, I've been a head coach, and I felt that way. You feel so responsible for everything that happens. And if you're a head coach, you should feel responsible because the buck stops with you. But I've been in those shoes before where I felt like, hey guys, I don't deserve to be your head coach. I've never said that, but deep down I felt it for right after a game because you put so much into it, so much sacrifice, so much time and effort into your season, which every game you have 10 or 11 games. Now you have more than that, but the point is you work a whole year for that. There's opportunities. And then when it goes really bad, and especially if it's very embarrassing, it really almost destroys you, and you have to be very mentally tough. And I know exactly what he was feeling because he did, it hurt him so bad that, if we let our emotions take over, which is only human, then you do say stuff that going like, I shouldn't have put that on them.
Right.
Because I thought he did a great job of trying to actually talk about that and talk about he shouldn't have put the pressure on the athletes to say, hey, coach, stay with us, or whatever. But, hey, I've been there, and I think every coach has in some points. I think in the coaching world, you won't hear anybody like slamming him because we know we've been there. Now, media, fans, oh, yeah, it's a perfect
That's what we do.
It's a perfect thing to do. But deep down, I think every coach knows that it's there in them. And, just try your best to stay focused. And the one thing I know Coach Brown knows, and we all know as coaches, after a bad loss, you try to say as little as possible. And you try to leave that locker room with everybody still feeling together. And then you go Monday, and you can be as critical, you can be as hard on you and them as you possibly can. But after a game, the emotion is so strong for players and coaches that you've got to be really guarded to let your emotions take over your thoughts and what you say. And I know Coach Brown knows that. Gosh, he's been in a long time. And, hey, it happens. You know what? And he's moving on. I think he'll do a great job because he's a positive person and he'll overcome it.
All right, I have a question for this week because this is something that I actually never had to go through. We've got a hurricane coming. Everybody who's played in the Southeast this weekend knows it's going to be wet. How do you prepare for a game knowing that weather is going to be 90% of the story going into the week?
Well, this is old school, but, one of the first things, you do the week when you know it's going to be really bad is you practice with a wet ball. And, you really educate your team on what it's going to be like so when they go out there, they're ready for it, mentally. And, you got to keep coaching that, hey, it's happening to them too. The other team's facing the same adversity as you do, and the team that can overcome it is probably going to win the game. So you have their mindset that, hey, bring it on. There's no saying in coaching. It goes, it don't matter if it's, in the stadium or in the parking lot. We're going to show up, and we're going to give our best effort. And our mindset is it don't matter where, why, or how, but we got to go out there and play to what we need to do. But yeah, you do have strategy of running plays and do those kind of things in limited passing. But that's kind of obvious, really.
We're today's theme of the show is fixable or fraud. We're going through talking about who's had a rough start to the season, who can you fix, who just wasn't good to begin with this season. One of the chief people taking shots all over the place in the NFL right now from all of the critics and all of the talking heads and all of the fans down in Jacksonville is Trevor Lawrence. The generational prospect, the can't-miss guy that we all talked about in the draft leading up to this.
I firmly said I hope this eliminates the can't-miss prospect. I hope I never hear that term again.
Especially after he got the huge contract in the offseason. He just hasn't been good. It's not there statistically. It's not there schematically. It doesn't seem to be like. How do you view that situation?
Well, obviously I haven't really studied him, or I'm not in practice with him every day like his quarterback coach is and their offensive coordinator and the head coach. So for me to make an evaluation is really futile, really, because they know what they're dealing with, and I'm sure he does too. The one thing I do know, and watching him through college and when he got to Jacksonville, he's super talented. I think he has a great mindset. When things start kind of going bad, they kind of can snowball into other things. But I do believe this. You say there's no can't miss picks, and I think that's true. At the same time, I think he's one that will weather the storm, and he'll be back on track. I can't say it's going to be this week, but he's too talented. He cares too much. His heart's too big. His coaches are going to be too good to let that, keep going in a negative direction, in my opinion.
there have been discussions here in this room today about making the coaching change. Do you get to that point where you think, okay, we've got the quarterback, we're committed to him? At what point do you decide, okay, we got to cut bait with this coach? It's just not working anymore. I know you've been in that situation before on the end of being fired.
I mean, I've been on kind of all situations. I mean, as you do as a coach. There's old saying is there's two types of coaches: ones that have been fired and the ones that are going to be. That's really kind of true. I mean, you look at everybody. But going back to your question, I think the key point about trying to make a change still goes back to what is the communication, what is the trust of the players. I think when you lose a team and they lose trust and all of a sudden they can't work like at the level they need to be successful, I mean, I think that that's the deciding point. I don't think 3 losses in a row, or you start the season off 0-3, and you're going like, well, fire the coach, okay? Well, I think the real evidence, and I'm sure that ADs, and I'm sure that the owners of an NFL team, they look at what is the culture in the locker room. I mean, what does those players feel about their coaches or their head coach? And I think that's really the deciding factor, because you can lose a team and still be the head coach, and you can gain it back, but it's very difficult. But I think it sometimes is very obvious. And then when you lose, your players, because really as a football program or as a team, you kind of say you're us against the world anyway. So we're in there in that locker room as coaches and players. And, the fans are going to feel, they're going to have passion. Media's going to be, having their viewpoints. But when it's all said and done, you as a coach and you as a player have to decide, hey, we're in this together and everybody's against us, and you got to have that mentality. And if you lose that, then you're not going to be successful, and then it's going to go bad.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of toxic locker rooms already this year in football. It does make for a rough season if you can't get it together and find that one, everybody on the same page, right?
Yeah,
one team, one motive.
But I will say this: you can be 0-4 and everybody's mad at you, but if everybody's together in that locker room, you can battle your way back. So I mean, it's not the wins and losses from the inside; it is from the outside, but not from the inside.
He is the regular coach, Kent Briggs, the regular guy, Coach Kent Briggs, joining us here in the Sportsocracy. Always glad to have you in the studio, pick your brain on football things, and want everybody to make sure to pay attention tonight to the social medias, as we'll be putting out our second episode in the Regular Guy podcast with Coach Kent Briggs.
You'll be able to find that on Spotify, and if you follow us on social medias, you'll be able to see it on all of our social medias, because the two executive producers are Tank and myself.
Exactly.
Awesome. Really, it's way more him than me. Tank's doing 95% of the work, and I just slide in and go, hey, look, that looks pretty. Let's do that.
Hey, I tell you, I really appreciate y'all, too, because, again, it's about people that I think that need to be talked about. Mm-hmm. And so I'm excited about that. So thank you guys for the opportunity and what y'all do.
Coach Kent Briggs joining us once again. And, this week's podcast episode all focused on the life and the legend of Bob Waters, former head coach of the Western Carolina Catamounts, who was quite the story back in the 80s as he fought through ALS and taught us all quite a bit of a life lesson.
This is an episode, whether you're a football fan or not, this is a great lesson. Tank finished it up and sent it to me last night, and I listened to it actually while taking a bath. And, I wanted to get that in before Hurricane.
It was weird he thought to point that out, but thank you.
Well,
you gave me a visual there.
It's not a good one.
We're all glad that you're clean.
I witnessed it firsthand. It wasn't great.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. Thank you, Coach Briggs, once again. And we'll be right back after this, playing more of Fixable or Fraud.
Need batteries? Don't overpay at big box stores. Shop locally owned Rainy Battery for the lowest prices on all your battery needs. From watch to heavy equipment batteries, Rainy Battery has you covered. Boats, RVs, cars, trucks, golf carts, and so much more. Get brands you know and trust like AC Delco, Motorcraft for the lowest prices, plus custom battery cables made in-house. Go to rainybattery.com or stop in today for a quote. That's rainybattery.com.
What if you could hear your favorite song for the first time again? Introducing the all-new, reimagined Nissan Kicks. With an available Bose Personal Plus sound system that uses speakers in the headrest to create a 360-degree listening experience. You've never heard anything like this. Reimagine your music and your drive. Experience the all-new, reimagined Nissan Kicks for yourself at nissanusa.com today.
Available feature. Bose is a registered trademark of the Bose Corporation.
At Ingles Weather, we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park. It's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. And did I mention that Clarissa Sells WNC loves teachers? We love teachers so much, we're giving back 25% of our commission at closing. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
Do better, be better every day. That's the Parks Promise. Our mission, to improve lives with every interaction. This is JW, General Manager at Parks Ford Hendersonville. Experience the Parks Promise today at parksfordhendersonville.com. That's parksfordhendersonville.com.
Monday. It's America's least favorite morning, but their favorite night of football. And my favorite place to watch those games, Casablanca Cigar Bar. I love a good smoke and an old-fashioned after a long day, and nowhere does it better than Casablanca. Their state-of-the-art smoke ventilation system makes for a comfortable bar experience for smokers and non-smokers. Some just come for the bar alone. Stop by their Asheville location at 18 Lodge Street in Biltmore Village or in Hendersonville at 411 North Main Street.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Showers, thunderstorms this afternoon, separate from our tropical system. Still could be some heavier downpours, 75. But I really think as we go on through tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, and maybe even into a part of Friday, widespread rain and thunderstorms around. At times, some locally heavy rainfall that could produce some significant flooding in spots. We'll have a severe weather element too, along with some gusty winds outside of storms. From the Weather Channel, I'm Ray Stajic.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Their end-to-end solution helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all year round. Schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from your Indeed dashboard. Learn more by visiting Indeed.com/credit.
Did you know you can now use your body's own healing properties to revitalize your achy joints and get real lasting pain relief? I'm talking about advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. If you're tired of arthritic pain in your knees, hips, back, or shoulder, this is something you need to check out. Everybody's talking about regenerative medicine, and the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics are experts in these amazing treatments. People here rave about the results. You can enhance your joints, improve mobility, and get back to doing the stuff you love without pain and without drugs or surgery or downtime. Under the leadership of Medical Director Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting breakthrough using cellular therapies. They've got tens of thousands of satisfied patients, and the consultation is totally free. So call now. Take action to get lasting joint pain relief with help from QC Kinetics. Call 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
Serving Western North Carolina for more than 30 years, Foundation Solutions has the expertise to fix any foundation problem you have. Foundation Solutions ensures a durable foundation that stands the test of time. Call 828-768-2208 for your no-cost consultation today.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
Live from the Ingalls Studio.
I can't wait to play with myself every day.
The Sportsocracy.
Damn the devil to hell! Let the big dog see! Let him on the field!
Come get you some of this.
Fire them cannons. By golly, put more powder in those things.
He couldn't take any more disappointment.
Oh, my God. The Jets killed him.
It is ESPN Asheville. This is the Sportsocracy on 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400. The Sportsocracy heard everywhere you go on the iHeartRadio app. You can take us with you everywhere. Traveling out of town, just plop it on iHeartRadio app. You don't have to worry about, signals going out at the edge of town, or you listen to us anywhere. That's how it works.
From what I understand, there are a lot of people that are leaving town.
Where are you going? Where would you be running off to?
Up.
Just RUNNOFT. Here we go.
Up. You're going to have to go up, or you're going to have to go east.
You might. It's going to be real rough around here in western North Carolina. We've got all kinds of flood warnings posted for all of the rain that's coming our way from Helene. I believe she's a hurricane by now. I haven't seen the official news alert. But this is the one that's supposed to be a Category 3 storm hitting tomorrow morning sometime down around Florida, and by tomorrow night, she's going to be up around our neck of the woods. We're on the wrong side of this storm. It's 400 miles wide, so even though we're not in the direct path, all those rain bands are coming our way, and they're talking possibly 2004-ish type flooding around the mountains, which is bad news. That was major devastation. People lost their lives. People lost their homes. They're talking stay home. We're barricading ourselves here at the radio station tomorrow night. Me and Mark Starling.
Tank and Mark are sleeping at the station.
We are. We're having a little slumber party. A little hurricane party.
You're going to have an adult slumber party?
With chili and hot dogs and just bunch of farting and football on TV on Thursday night. It's going to be awesome.
I wasn't invited.
We knew you wouldn't go.
And I'm not sad about that.
Oh, come on. That's we're just living like big kids.
I'll be honest with you. If I ever woke up at any point in time and I looked on my left and saw Tank Spencer and I looked on my right and saw Mark Starling, I'd probably find a bus to go jump in front of.
It is the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. Hope everybody takes the proper precautions. Everybody get your food stores ready. Power may go out, so you're going to need all of the things. Make sure you have emergency contacts and all of that. Landslides could be a problem here in the mountains. Of course, all of our lovely listeners down in the Gulf Coast area, just batten down the hatches, guys, or get out. Obey whatever they're telling you to do. But we will have all of the full storm coverage for you on 570 WWNC. If we have to break in the middle of the night, that's kind of why we're going to be here.
I do feel like, obviously, Hurricane Helene has taken us out of Georgia, Alabama. We had flip-flopped on it anyway. But I do feel like it is probably an apropos time for us to announce where we're going next Saturday.
Oh, okay. All right. So we're
you know the button to hit over there, don't you?
Wait, is this the one?
Oh, that button's right too.
Wait for it.
The Sportsocracy.
I'm just living the dream.
The Living the Dream tour. Where we're going?
Well, you have another button over there.
Yeah.
It's a little
yeah.
It's a little EDM-ish.
A little EDM-ish. Oh, I know what one you're looking for. You're looking for this one.
That's the one. October 5th. We told you we were gonna see Ole Miss. And we're gonna.
Oh, nice.
The Fighting Jackson Darts of Ole Miss at South Carolina. We're going back to Columbia.
I love it.
I'm totally down.
That was an awesome place. I love the atmosphere there. I would love to see South Carolina be able to put a little, little hitch in that Heisman train of Jackson Dart. That could be fun.
And that's a 3:30 kick. which means we will get to see Williams-Brice Stadium at night time.
Ooh, that's right. Hopefully it's a close game in the fourth quarter.
Because
there's a chance. Because there's a chance it could not be.
Yes. We really were adamant that we wanted to see Jackson Dart and Ole Miss. I do have a very sizable wager for him to win the Heisman, which is currently looking exponentially better than any of you thought. And I am quite content with that. I will not be cashing that out, DraftKings Sportsbook, so you can stop asking me anytime you want to. Because unless that number gets real, real big, that's going to be a no from me.
Right. I'm going to hold on to that one for just a minute or two. We're playing Fixable or Fraud on today's program as we go into week 4 of the NFL season, the almost quarter pole of the season. 3 weeks in, who's fixable and who is not? Talked about the Dallas Cowboys. They're not fixable.
I don't believe so, no.
We talked about the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're not fixable, I don't think.
I think they could be, but you're going to have to take some pretty drastic steps.
How about the Chicago Bears?
Is this fixable for you?
I'm going to say yes, but I don't know how. I don't know how you make the offensive line better. Because I think if you gave a little bit more time to Caleb Williams, then he would have more ability to grow as a quarterback, more ability to make good decisions.
Look, the line has not been stellar, but they've all been average. So the question is, why has the line been so bad?
Mm-hmm.
It ain't hard to figure out. Nobody's scared of Caleb Williams. I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Because I think you have a big old problem. In terms of PFF quarterback rating, how many quarterbacks in the NFL have been worse than Caleb Williams?
Bryce Young.
That's one of them.
Trevor Lawrence.
Nope. Not even close, actually.
Not even close. I don't know. Who else is down there?
Will Levis.
Yeah, there's one.
And it's real close. And Skylar Thompson. That's the only quarterbacks in the league that have been worse than Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
But he threw for 300 yards.
And he
stop worrying about how many yards a guy.
He still had a 10 QBR for that game, didn't he?
17 something.
Mm-hmm.
He has been absolutely terrible. And I got news for you. It ain't going to get better. Because I have a funny feeling that NFL defensive coordinators are seeing the same thing that I am. He cannot make tight window throws. He can't do it. His feet and his brain are on totally different wavelengths. And so what happens? We get more tape on you. We figure out what you can't do, and then we just keep sending it at you.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have a problem. We routinely said Caleb Williams is not the prospect that he's being billed to be.
Yes.
For me, it's even deeper than that. I don't think he knows how to read a defense. He came out of that Lincoln Riley pick and pop. I'm basically making one read, and athleticism and just sheer ability are going to get me through.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot play that way in the NFL. It's why we have seen so many Pac-12, Pac-10, you go all the way back to Pete Carroll days. Look how many quarterbacks came out of that conference that have come into the NFL and had no clue.
I would love to know what the breakdown is on the timing of his throws. Like how much time elapsed between when he got the ball and when he made a big play in college. Because I feel like the throws where you're supposed to get it in and out in 2.5 seconds probably didn't have very many of those. Probably had a bunch of those 3.5 to 5.5 second run around spinny move thing and then find the guy after the play has broken down.
Well, this is kind of where, and I've heard that excuse for him for the first 3 games of the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a little digging.
Yep.
Pocket time.
Yeah.
He's at 2.2 seconds.
Okay.
Do you know the other quarterbacks in the NFL that are at the exact same time frame?
Yes.
Malik Willis, C.J. Stroud, Geno Smith, Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels.
Okay.
I would stop using that as an excuse. If there was one of them there, okay, maybe it's not enough time. You got 5 quarterbacks that have all performed in some shape, form, or fashion to a high-end to elite level at some point this year. Caleb Williams the only one struggling with it. Why is that?
He's a rookie.
So is Jaden Daniels.
Well,
Jaden Daniels played in the SEC.
True.
One of them's used to seeing a high-level defense. One of them, this is the first time I've ever seen one in my life.
Right.
And you add that with Shane Waldron, who I don't think is a great offensive coordinator. You waxed poetic about him in the offseason, how great this was going to be.
I thought it was going to be great.
And I kept saying, are we sure of that? Because Geno Smith was good before Shane Waldron.
Mm-hmm.
This was just kind of a continuation. And now you look at what Ryan Grubb is doing with Geno Smith. I mean, I know they haven't played anybody, but are we sure?
Mm-hmm.
Are we sure he was the reason?
No, now we're thinking maybe it was Dave Canales, right?
I don't know
exactly whoever it
what
was
did
in
it.
Seattle. Something meshed together, and it hasn't started well for Shane Waldron. That's all we can say. I mean, I still call into question going up against one of the worst run defenses in the league and throwing it 52 times. That didn't make a lot of sense.
So Soaring Eagle in our YouTube chat said it's simple. You fire Matt Eberflus right now. Okay. Well, here would be my question. Who are you handing this team over to?
You going to give it to Shane Waldron?
Well, so he's the offensive coordinator. Eric Washington's the defensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
This is his, I believe, first time as a coordinator in the NFL. I'm looking up and down the staff going, I don't see one that makes a ton of sense. That's the problem with firing a coach in season. There's got to be somebody that makes sense for you to hand it over to.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have one.
No.
You're pretty well locked into what you've got here. What would be unsettling to me if I were a Bears fan? I am not surprised in any way that Caleb has started out slow. What would be a little bit unsettling to me, the defense doesn't look as good as it did. I mean, have you seen the high side of that Bears defense?
Not yet. It's one of those things like you feel like it's coming. You know they have.
Why do you feel like
they have the guys, right? Don't they? They have talent on that defense.
But why do you feel it's coming?
Because you've
played two of the three worst offenses in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Titans and the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
Defense won you the game against the Titans.
Right.
I would argue Will Levis probably won you the game against the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you really feel like they looked great against C.J. Stroud? Because I didn't. Do you feel like they looked great against Anthony Richardson? Nothing changed. It's one thing if it's the Texans and I got 5 new starters that I'm trying to coalesce into a – this is the same 11 guys. There's nothing new here. This should have been lather, rinse, repeat. And frankly, the defense should be ahead of the offense. It's not. Oh, and by the way, your schedule gets worse as time goes on. You're struggling with mediocre offense. What do you think a good one's going to do to you? They play the Rams this weekend. Oh, but the Rams don't have an offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
You're picking that game, betting your house on it. Which way you going?
The Rams with no weapons against the Chicago Bears who can't really seem to score? I don't have to think about that one for a while.
I didn't have to think about it.
Statistically speaking, the Rams have one of the worst defenses in the league. So if he's going to do anything, maybe this is the week he does.
I don't know. Is this weakened Rams defense better than anything he's ever seen in his life outside of the last 3 weeks?
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
He's struggling with the speed. That's not going to stop. He's going to struggle with the Rams. The fact the Bears are a 3-point favorite is comical to me.
Are they really?
That is comical to me. I don't think this is fixable. And you mark my words, it's going to get yappy. DJ Moore was very vocal. He loved Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
Weird. You replaced his guy with your guy, and all of a sudden DJ Moore doesn't look like who DJ Moore was last year. Rome Odunze had a big game because he was playing against the Colts. Other than that, he had been almost completely irrelevant. Keenan Allen's already hurt. You can't run a greasy peg up a cat's keister. There's nothing here to me. This looks like the Chicago Bears with Justin Fields. It looks exactly the same.
Yeah, except for their offense isn't just running into punting situations. they're throwing it three times and punting.
Yeah, they're launching passes over receivers' heads 2 times after a failed run.
Right, it does look a little bit different, but the outcome may end up being exactly the same. Hoping with a full complement of weapons, maybe things do lighten up a little bit, but you've got to protect him. And the offensive line, again, has been a major problem. Because you have to give him more time, right? He can't just get the average amount of time and perform.
Why can Jaden Daniels do it?
Exactly. We've already seen Jaden Daniels can, but it's clear that he can't. So you have to be able to give him more time.
Well, I mean, that's kind of damning that you took one over the other.
Sure it is. They made the wrong call 3 weeks into the season. They made the wrong call.
Straight up. This is
right
CJ Stroud, Bryce Young all over again.
Yeah, if you had to take receipts 3 weeks in, this is terrible. And it's not going to get better. Or at least it doesn't look like it's going to get better unless this team gets better.
I can think of one example off the top of my head where I have seen a quarterback look completely incompetent through a handful of weeks. In this case, it was through a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Looked completely incompetent. And it got better. And you know what that guy needed? Stephon Diggs. You have 3 of them. I can't make your weapons any better. Your weapons should be keeping the hellhounds off of you. I got news for you. I can't do anymore. I've already got 2 first-round picks on this offensive line. I've got a lot of draft capital into it, and the line's not playing that poorly. What Caleb Williams is getting right now is better than what Jaden Daniels is getting. And sorry, they are compared to each other. At some point, you have to look at a guy and say, if I have to prop you up, I have to have the best defense, I've got to have the best weapons, and I got to have the best offensive line. Then you're not an NFL quarterback. You're just not. If literally I have to have the best roster in the league from 2 to 53, you're not a starter. You're a backup that can come in and win some games if the team is good. I don't think this is fixable. I think the Bears have made a colossal mistake. And I'm going to need to see a lot to unwind that.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville.
Celebrate the spirit of Oktoberfest in Asheville. Saturday, October the 5th at Pack Square Park. Oktoberfest features 20-plus local breweries, cideries, wineries, and distilleries. You can indulge in delicious German-style cuisine from local food vendors and dance along to the lively tunes of the polka band Lagerhosen. Get your tickets now at AshevilleDowntown.org. AshevilleDowntown.org. Proudly sponsored by iHeartMedia, Asheville.
If you're listening to this Gerber Life Guaranteed Life Insurance ad, there's a good chance that you're alive. And if you're not, well, this may not be of interest to you. Now, I know what you're thinking. Life insurance, I'm going to live forever. Death is what happens to other people. Well, for the sake of argument, let's assume you're wrong and that someday you won't be listening to the radio anymore. I know it's not easy to talk about, so I'll do the talking. If you're 50 plus and alive, or 50 to 75 in New York, you can apply for Gerber Life Guaranteed Life Insurance with guaranteed acceptance regardless of your health. And since this life insurance is guaranteed, you don't have to get a medical exam. In fact, you don't even have to fill out a health questionnaire. For a free quote, call 888-532-5016. Then, when you if you stop listening to the radio, your family can use the insurance money to help cover your final expenses or anything else. Your kids already inherited your ears, allergies, and questionable singing voice. Don't make them inherit your final expense tab too. For a free personalized quote, call 888-532-5016 today.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
Tired of ads interrupting your favorite news podcasts? Good news! Ad-free listening on Amazon Music is included with your Prime membership. Stay up to date on everything newsworthy with podcasts like The Daily, Up First, and 5 Things Uninterrupted at Amazon.com/ad-free. Just head to Amazon.com/ad-free to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.
Do you love a good cigar, but you don't really know what you're looking for? I've got just the place for you. Casablanca Cigar Bar. I love a good smoke, but I never really knew what it was I liked, and that's why I went to Trevor, their certified tobacconist. Home to Western North Carolina's largest walk-in humidor, Casablanca is a one-stop shop for both the novice and expert smoker. Visit them today at either location, 18 Lodge Street in Biltmore Village or 411 North Main Street in downtown Hendersonville.
This summer, Dale's Pale Ale salutes freedom. Freedom in fabric, or the fabric of freedom. Denim Dale's available for a limited time in the blue jean box. Dale's salutes everyone who works hard, plays hard, and relaxes hard. Life's more than about what you pack in your denim. Though, we're packing beer, so we win. Seize the Dales. Unwind in style with a cool breeze up the jorts. Just look for the beer in the blue jean box.
The Sportsocracy.
That is some good, clean family fun there, eh, God?
Is it fixable, or were they just frauds to begin with? Slow starts to the NFL season. Week 4 is knocking on the door here. And there are some teams that it just doesn't feel like they are going to be able to climb out of the hole that they're already in. Let's talk about the 1-2 fishies, the Miami Dolphins.
Sigmund Frauds.
Sigmund Frauds?
I was trying to put them together. Frauds.
Yeah.
They're frauds.
Yeah, frauds.
Straight up, you're frauds. I mean, I get it. Your quarterback's hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Did we not see that coming? Are you surprised?
There was a chance. There was always a chance that was going to come, and nobody's surprised that happens. And now the worst part about it is your team wasn't good when he was on the field.
No.
And that was pre-injury. You know, it wasn't like there was an injury in the preseason that made it difficult for him the first week and a half. It was this team looked inept on offense.
The wildest part of this is that the defense has not allowed a ton of yardage. And you've still gotten absolutely smoked twice. You really got smoked for a half by the Jacksonville Jaguars. You got really lucky that Travis Etienne fumbled on about the one pigeon feather line. I can't finish that the way I usually do.
Mm-hmm.
Or you'd be 0-3. Now you get the Tennessee Titans on Monday Night Football. We get to weather a hurricane. We get a hurricane, and then we get the Dolphins and the Titans. Thanks, world.
Where your quarterback matchup is Tyler Huntley against Will Levis.
What a great way to kick off the last 6 weeks of Joe Biden.
Is this?
Thanks for that.
Is this the who do they put on the graphic for this game? I know that you typically do the quarterbacks, but that's not really. I wouldn't do that. I'd go DeAndre Hopkins and Tyreek Hill. I would go. Coming up with a second, Devin Achane and Tony Pollard,
Luke Combs. Just do Luke Combs.
No, he's a Panthers fan.
Yeah, that's right. Just Morgan Wallen.
Actually, he might be in the transfer portal as well. He might be a Tennessee fan this year.
Just do Morgan Wallen, Kelsey Ballerini, and some other country artist. Eddie Fox. Boom, got it.
That's not a good matchup for a Monday Night Football game, but I mean, okay, tell me about their defense. What's the biggest problem with the defense right now? How can we fix this? We know the quarterback thing is out of our hands.
Well, I mean, the biggest problem is this team is built to play from ahead, and you're not doing that. I mean, they have, 6 sacks on the season? They're just not built to trail. So teams wind up running on them. And I actually think Anthony Weaver, after I dug into this, I think he's doing a better job than we have given him credit for. I am a little biased because I do know him. And I do like him. And I think he should be the coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens right now. But the offense is a disaster. And I don't know how it's going to get any better. I mean, does Tyler Huntley really improve you from Skylar Thompson? Because, I mean, fractionally, at best.
Does he have a better arm?
It's confounding to me that they can't run better than this.
Can they stretch the field is the question. Because that's what this offense is predicated upon, is being able to stretch the field.
Well, and if you prove that you can stretch the field, it's going to help you running the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dumbfounded that even with backup quarterbacks, they can't run. The line has been fine. Teron Armstead's been really good. Outside of that, it's been kind of hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
But you have these two speed burner wide receivers and no quarterback. And now you're seeing the limitations of this system. You're seeing why teams don't do this. Because without the point guy, what are you exactly? You have all these fast little players, and nobody's scared of you. I'm not scared Skylar Thompson's going to drop a dot over my head. I'm not really scared Tyler Huntley's going to do it, to be really frank with you. You're trying to cobble this together as you go. Is it fixable, or are they frauds?
I would say they're frauds.
I'd say they're frauds, too.
Because I don't have any faith that Tua's coming back. And
do you care if he does?
I do.
I don't.
I do because if he comes back, then you have the ability to try to build on what you had last year. It's been a slow start. You didn't get off the okay. Well, maybe 4 weeks off, 6 weeks off, whatever it's going to end up being, and he comes back healthy. Maybe we got something to build on. This way we know at least that offensive firepower is still in there somewhere. We just got to unlock it for this year. We hadn't been able to do that yet. So there would be hope, but I don't think that moment's coming.
I don't necessarily know how much hope you would have even with him. They were terrible up until right as he got hurt. It's not like it got drastically worse. It got less entertaining to watch. But, I mean, Tua had, 6 interceptions in 2 games or something ridiculous like that? He was terrible. I think the league's figured this out. We know what you're going to try to do, and we figured out how to beat it. All we have to do is get in his face, and you have a problem. Now, here is why I would say frauds. You play Tennessee and New England next 2 weeks. You're going to do this with either Skylar Thompson or Tyler Huntley, which leads me to believe you're going to lose at least one of those two. Let's say it's just one.
Mm-hmm.
You go into the bye week 2-3. You come out at Indianapolis, then you go Arizona. Both winnable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to be as rose-colored glasses here as I can.
Absolutely.
You're 4-3 at that point. You then go at Buffalo, at the Rams, Raiders, New England, and then you end with at Green Bay, the Jets, at Houston, San Francisco, at Cleveland, at the Jets. There's no math that leads to you being better than 8-9.
No.
With me being as rose-colored glasses as I can and just assume that Tua comes back off this injury and everything is hunky-dunky, you're still not good at beating good teams. You don't have many bad ones left. This was where you had to make all your hay, and you haven't done it. I think they're doomed.
Yeah.
To me, this is the definition of damned if you do, damned if you don't.
I don't think it's fixable. I think they were frauds to begin with, and the only hope you have at this moment is that a guy who I have seen battered and broken several times now in his football career, I got to hope that he doesn't call it quits, because I would have no problems if he did. If Tua Tagovailoa wanted to come out today and say, I'm done, I've said I think that's what he should do. I get he wants to keep trying.
I'm not the guy that's going to tell you.
I'm not, no, that's not my decision to make.
No, I'm not even the guy that says I think that he should do that. You should do what you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
You are responsible for your life and your brain, not me. If you want to keep playing because you've worked your entire life to do this, and without football, that's your thing. I'm not going to tell you should.
But I can't trust it. I can't trust that he's going to be there for me.
That's where the problem comes in. Is now the roster build of Miami feels broken because I built this for Tua, and now I can't trust that he's going to be here. We have 2 super chats we need to get to before the break. Yeah! First one's from Soaring Eagle talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars. So you remember that they had to settle for Doug Peterson because none of the good candidates wanted the job because Trent Baalke was still employed. That's a little revisionist history. Doug was one of the higher-end candidates there, but none of the coordinators wanted him. The solution for Jacksonville, to me, is very simple. Look to Detroit. Bring in the coach. Tell him to bring in his own personnel guy that learned under Brad Holmes and hope that you can duplicate that. It's going to be ugly for a couple years. There's just no way around it. You've missed too many draft picks. It's too hard to build a 53-man roster when you have missed 5 out of 7 draft picks every single year. But Baalke's got to go before any of this matters because nobody is signing up for this again. They're looking at Trayvon Walker and Aiden Hutchinson going, nobody with an IQ above salad dressing should have been duped by this. And you were. And one more. Yeah! From Sir Jimothy, said if we've talked about Dallas, which we did, start this here program, fixable if Jerry dies or retires. I knew somebody was going to say that. I knew it unequivocally. I don't necessarily agree with that. He just has to do something he's never been willing to do, which is bring in football people.
No, he's brought in football people before.
That's never with full control.
Exactly.
He's still the one buying the groceries.
Exactly. I mean, he's brought in football people, but he, of all people, when we talk owners in the NFL who can't stay out of the football business, Jerry Jones is a number one, has been since day one. He is the poster child for owner needs to stay his ass out of the business of the football.
Just look how many decisions he's made that the two of us, two radio talking head idiots, have looked at and gone, there's no possibility of this being sustainable. You have no second receiver. Guess what? That's been a problem. You have no running back whatsoever. Guess what? That's been a problem. You have nobody that you can trust in the back half. It's the first set of stat accumulator corners I've ever seen. Usually that's a term reserved for quarterbacks. You have 2 of them. And one of them's not playing, Deron Bland, but you got 2 guys that in terms of coverage, they're not good. They just pick off a lot of passes. You're 2 boom or bust. And it's not surprising to me when you get your brains bashed out by good teams. The Dallas Cowboys and the Miami Dolphins, to me, are the exact same team. I think I said that last year when they played each other. They are the exact same team. You have mediocre, overpaid quarterbacks, a few flashy weapons, and very little substance. And when you play a team that is deep, they are going to hurt your feelings.
You're in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Showers, thunderstorms this afternoon, separate from our tropical system. Still could be some heavier downpours, 75. But I really think as we go on through tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, and maybe even into a part of Friday, widespread rain and thunderstorms around. At times, some locally heavy rainfall that could produce some significant flooding in spots. We'll have a severe weather element, too, along with some gusty winds outside of storms. From the Weather Channel, I'm Ray Stajic.
This report is sponsored by North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
Everyone goes through tough times. You don't have to do it alone. Dial 988. Talk with someone who cares and get to a better place. Call, text, or chat 988 24/7. 988. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by NCDHHS.
iHeartRadio brings you Global Citizen Festival 2024 from New York City at Central Park's Great Lawn. Live performances from Post Malone, Doja Cat, Jelly Roll, Benson Boone, and more. Join the movement to end extreme poverty now, one action at a time at globalcitizenfestival.com. Hear the entire festival live on the iHeartRadio app all day this Saturday, and the best of the best moments on the free iHeartRadio app's Hit Nation station. Saturday night at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific.
Haywood Community College offers over 30 programs of study to obtain your associate's degree or specialized certification. We can help you find the perfect program to pursue your educational journey while staying local, offering small class sizes with flexible classroom delivery options and transferable degrees and credits to numerous North Carolina universities. There's no telling where HCC could lead you. Save time and money by staying local. Visit haywood.edu for more information and to begin the registration process. And go Mounties!
Hi, this is unaffiliated candidate Bruce O'Connell, and I'm running for the County Commission of Buncombe County District 2 in the November 5th general election. Have your voice be heard. Make sure you register to vote today. Your vote counts.
The season we've all been waiting for is here. No, not that one. The season of the Big Orange Tent is underway in Western North Carolina. The area's largest selection of Halloween costumes, decorations, and accessories is at the Big Orange Tent at the Asheville Mall. Halloween Express is your one-stop shop for adult and child costumes, superheroes, horror icons, inflatable suits. You can find it all under the Big Orange Tent at the Asheville Mall. 10 to 8 Monday through Saturday, 12 to 6 on Sundays.
It's time to kick off the perfect tailgate and take your team to Ingles. Chips and guac made fresh in store every day. The best meat in town packaged fresh every day. And smiling faces giving you their best every day. Let's be real. In the South, football season is our favorite season of the year. There's a lot to smile about, especially with deals like these. Ingles. Low prices, love the savings.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. Download our free app on Google Play or the App Store. Type in Asheville Home Search. You'll be able to connect with our team and see all the available homes for sale in our area. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
Back in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. And hey, we don't do much, pop culture news here. We don't do like a whole lot of. I mean, we do crime news here as well. So, but P. Diddy, P. Diddy's in jail. If you haven't heard, he did lots of things that you're not supposed to do.
He had stock in Johnson & Johnson baby oil, from what I understand.
It is quite. Yeah, he did. And now he's in jail, and he's been placed in jail along with convicted crypto fraudster Sam Bankman-Fried. Story came out in the New York Times, I believe it was, or maybe the New York Post earlier today, that was talking about how these two have ended up being cellmates now, which is not what you would think of a cell. Like, okay, we're in the the 8-foot concrete room with the bars, and so they're staying in like a dormitory. And I just feel like that would be one of those situations where I ripped off a bunch of people, right? Why do I deserve to be locked up in here with that thing? Because that is craziness that I don't want to, like, as the details come out about this, I'm feeling more and more uneasy about being in the dorm room with Sean Combs.
Well, I feel like Mr. Fraudster, who ripped people off for billions of dollars, is about to learn that a freak party in prison hits a little different. My story is about being naked in a cave. It's from Howe Caverns, New York. Apparently, the 6th annual Naked in a Cave event is this weekend. And it is exactly what you think it is. It's sold out. They had 350 spots for nudists to show up and hang out in a cave.
There's bats in caves. I don't like
there are bugs in caves that are going to get into Orify that you do not want them to get into.
Orify.
You do not want to see. You don't want to see Mr. Tick on your. Never mind.
Orify.
Is there anything in this world, like phrases that you could put together that would be more a hard pass than naked in a cave? That's all I did there.
Definitely going to be a hard pass for me on that one.
All I can imagine
come be naked in my cave is not a nice invitation. Like, it's not just, hey, we're doing stuff this weekend. We're gonna have a couple of beers. Just gonna hang out with the guys. Just let's go get naked in the cave. No,
I don't want. What was that first thing you said?
What was it?
Say that quote again.
What?
You started that with, hey,
What? I don't remember what I said.
You said, "Hey, come be naked in my cave."
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's the name of Puff Daddy's autobiography. I was really hoping you remembered what you said. It would have hit better if I hadn't said it.
It's either that is either the title of his memoir, or it's going to be the title of your new stand-up special.
No. With a picture of me holding 2 things of baby oil. For sure. That's happening.
Hey, come be naked in my cave.
I can't believe you get 350 people to sign up for this. And and now here's what would scare me. It's a body positivity event.
Oh no, I'm out. Nope. That's quote for. I mean, that's the equivalent of she's got a great personality, right? It's a body positivity retreat. Okay, we're gonna mark down naked in cave off the list.
350 people who really like to tell you about their cats. Feel pretty sure of it.
You better act now because they're gonna run out of Cheetos. You're in the Sportsocracy.
Go run out of sunscreen.
Well, you're in the cave. You won't need the sunscreen.
If all you got to do is step out, I'm going to say there's going to be some pasty complexions in that cave. The bats are going to be like, what the hell is happening right now?
You ever heard that song, Blinded by the Light? Yeah.
Why did Beck and 349 of his friends show up naked in our cave this week?
It was Glenn Beck. It wasn't even the good Beck.
I already knew Glenn Beck was the good Beck.
Fixable or frauds? Who has had a rough start to the season that you can turn it around?
I don't have a bell, but Patrick Holt just won the day.
Oh, dear.
He said $20 Mark Robinson's on that list.
Wah, wah.
If you don't know, Google it.
He's definitely looked it up on the internet. I can tell you that much.
Think they'd let me be a last-minute RSVP? Wow. We do it on both sides of the aisle.
Of course.
It's no more ridiculous on one side than the other.
Yeah. San Francisco 49ers. They're 1-2 to start out the year. They're hurt as hell already. You got Christian McCaffrey out seeing doctors in Germany to try to figure out how to fix his legs and get him back onto the field. A guy who's had a lot of injury issues. To me, that is number one, your biggest problem right now, because we know this offense does not go well when he's not on the field. Brock Purdy, we talked about him as the quarterback who has to have all the pieces. And right now, he doesn't have many pieces at his disposal. He's got a high-paid wide receiver on the field right now that ain't doing nothing. Not a damn thing.
Here's what would worry me. You just said that the biggest problem is Christian McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm.
The offense has nothing to do with this. They're third in the NFL in total offense. The thing that would scare the heber-jeebers out of me is why can we not seem to stop anybody but the Jets? They were really good week one. Then what happened? Now what? Sam Darnold did bad things to you. Matthew Stafford in the fourth quarter did bad things to you. And you didn't really seem to have much of a solution. Now Javon Hargrave is done. I told you in the offseason, this is the one team that can't withstand injuries. I just don't know what it is you do. What can you hang your hat on? Same question that I asked about the Dallas Cowboys. When things go sideways, who can I count on? You can't count on Brandon Ayuk. He's been the invisible man for 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will say he missed all of camp. So at some point you do have to – somebody has to use some common sense and go, it ain't going to be like this forever. I don't buy into him at all. I think he's a top 25-ish receiver. But he's better than this.
Mm-hmm.
But look at that defense. You've got one linebacker. You've got one edge guy who's been really good. Nobody else on that defense has even been competent. The secondary's been awful. It's not a good build of a defense. I was afraid of this coming into the year, and it's really served to be accurate. They just kept the Jets off the field. The offense moved up and down the field on the 2 times they actually could stay out there. It wasn't that the 49ers – this was my argument after Monday Night Football in week 1. It's not that San Francisco did anything. It was that the Jets couldn't get out of their own way. And then that's kind of served to be true over the last 2 weeks. Are the 49ers frauds or are they fixable?
Oh, I think they're fixable.
I think they're frauds.
Really?
I think you are a straight-up fraud. I don't believe this is an elite football team. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts. You have not drafted well at all. And maybe I cling on to that too much because I'm the draft guy.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, that's going to catch up to you. And I think it has.
Sure, the depth always matters.
It's
right?
not even the depth. The starters aren't good. Neither one of your starting corners has even been competent all year long. In the first game of the season, you literally kept a team off the field all but 18 minutes. You're still in the bottom third of the NFL. That should tell you how bad you've actually been the last 2 weeks. Can it get better? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, the 49ers and the Eagles are the exact same team. You have a lot of high-priced talent. I would take the Detroit Lions against you 100 times out of 100. A healthy Green Bay Packer team, I would take against both of you 100 times out of 100. I don't
Fully
care.
healthy?
Fully healthy.
Wow.
Fully healthy, I don't care. Because you're just not missing that much.
Mm-hmm.
So you're missing a running back. You have the second leading rusher in the league. It's not like Christian McCaffrey would have been all that much better. None of these guys play corner, which is your problem. You also have nobody on the opposite side of Bosa that scares anybody. Leonard Floyd looks like me trying to masquerade as an NFL edge rusher. That ain't getting better. Deebo Samuel doesn't fix that. The defense is the problem, not the offense. You're so worried about the weapons and all these other things. I hate to break this to you. This is what the offense is going to look like when you pay Brock Purdy 2 years from now. Because you can't keep all of these guys. This has been my argument about Brock Purdy since day one. I have to prop him up with 2 allegedly elite receivers, one that's hurt all the time and one super inconsistent. I got the best running back in the league and one of the 3 best tight ends in the league. Oh, by the way, I got the best left tackle in the league too. And that's what I need for him to look like a good NFL quarterback. What happens when 3 of those 5 are gone? Because that's what's going to happen. I don't think they're a threat to squat.
Okay. Well, how about the Rams?
Now, the Rams are a little bit different of a story.
Really? Okay. Are they fixable?
The Rams need to get healthy because they got problems on every side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think they're good. Now, the funny thing is here, I think the Rams and the 49ers are about equivalent teams, but everybody thinks the 49ers are a top 3 team, and everybody thinks the Rams are atrocious. You're both about 12, 11, somewhere in that ballpark. But it goes into expectations. Nobody really thought the Rams were going to do this again. I still kind of do. I still kind of think the Rams are going to find a way to sneak in as a wild card, and when this team's fully healthy at the end of the year, they're not going to be fun to play.
Mm-hmm.
That team is ridiculously young, and they have a lot of pieces that are either new or that have been thrust into roles because of injuries. You still found a way to beat San Francisco. I didn't say it was pretty. I'm not saying you could duplicate it, but you found a way. And it's weird that the Rams seem to do that every single year because you've got an elite head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of Andy Reid, there's not a better head coach in the NFL. Fact or fiction?
Oh, fact.
There may not be a better drafting team in the NFL. Fact or fiction?
Mm-hmm.
I have a funny feeling they're going to find a way. I don't know what it is. You need some linemen back bad.
Yeah.
There's a couple of the guys I've seen trot out there in the last handful of weeks have been brutal.
Mm-hmm. But how do they keep – I mean, the Cardinals game skewed their numbers greatly.
I agree. You played stride
think the defense is but do you think this defense is that much better than San Francisco's? Because statistically, they're not. They're one of the worst defenses in the league.
Well, I mean, you give up 500-some-odd yards in a game. You're 3 weeks in. That does kind of skew things.
Yeah.
If you take San Francisco and the Rams, drop the outlier, yeah, they look a lot more similar than you think.
Mm-hmm.
The Rams are a team that played stride for stride with the Lions in their building on Sunday Night Football.
Mm-hmm.
They're a team that in their house beat the San Francisco 49ers in a game that they had no right to win. You're taking one game. This is what I was screaming about yesterday, is that in a small sample size, it is so easy for you to get duped. and I feel like people are getting duped. Rams have played 2 games that kind of steer into exactly everything I'm saying. They played another where I think they got 4 guys from the Home Depot to play offensive line for them.
Right.
And the Cardinals ran through them like a hot knife through butter.
Mm-hmm.
They play the Bears this week. Who you taking?
Oh, I'll take the Rams.
They play the Packers the following week. If it's still Malik Willis, who you taking?
No.
That one will be a little more difficult.
I was going to say, I'll think about that one.
I needed to say that one to get to the Raiders, who they play the following
definitely,
week.
I'll take them.
That's my point.
Yeah, but I feel the same way about San Francisco. I think both of these situations are fixable. You got to get healthy, and you got to get some legs underneath you because you haven't been able to do that yet.
I think where I'm losing you is that the fixable for the Rams and the fixable for the 49ers ain't the same.
Mm-hmm.
The 49ers are on a clock. You don't win a Super Bowl this year, I'll go ahead and tell you ain't winning one with this build. I think you've already let that elapse.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you hadn't paid Brock, I'm looking around going, you are counting on way too many broken toys to get you where you're wanting to get to.
Well, you keep paying everybody. It's going to look like Dallas soon.
I think those 2 teams are closer than you want to let on. But I've always thought that. I've never bought into San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you're going to do. You will look like a superpower going into the playoffs, and then you're going to get sniped by one of these young teams that's drafted well. Because I got a handful of them in the NFC. But that's where it's different for me. Fixable for the Rams is we get this put together, we make the playoffs again, and maybe this year we get a win. That's fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Because now I'm trusting the process. That's not a Super Bowl team. The 49ers think they are. I don't see a Super Bowl team when I watch them play. I didn't see it against the Jets. I didn't see it in either of the 2 requisite weeks. I saw a team that got really lucky in San Francisco that you had a Jet team that was completely disjointed. If you played right now in New York, Jets are a favorite. Fact or fiction?
Fact.
And I think that's where I'm at with San Francisco. Everybody's taking that Cardinal game and completely skewing the Rams. Everybody's taking that Jet game and it's affirmation bias. Meanwhile, you got 2 games here that have basically told you they're not that team.
Mm-hmm.
Brock Purdy can't really play any better than he has. You still lost twice. Sam Darnold came in and beat your brains out. What does that tell you? San Francisco, they're not fixable. These are not fixable problems. You don't have a second edge rusher. There's not one on the team. Leonard Floyd is over the hill. Your backup to him is Yetur Gross-Matos, who played in Carolina for, 4 years? And I think I saw 4 plays from him the entire time he was there. This is what happens. You start paying guys. You start getting cute. You let Chase Young walk out the door. Now you don't have anybody on the opposite side of Nick Bosa. Guess what? He can't play any better either. Statistically, it could be better. Watch the film. He's killing guys. It doesn't matter. We'll run to the opposite side.
Mm-hmm.
We'll double you off because I'm not scared one-on-one with anybody else you got up there. You got 1 linebacker because Dre Greenlaw is still out with the Achilles injury. You have no corner that I'm legitimately afraid of. I think the defensive scheme has a problem. Might be why you've had 3 defensive coordinators in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
D'Amico Ryan's left, and you have been scurrying trying to find another guy. They ain't out there. That was an elite coordinator. You had 2 in a row. Defense has gotten worse every single year. That's not a happenstance.
No. Week 4 of the NFL is here, and this weekend you might be able to make a whole bunch of money betting touchdowns with the number 1 place to bet touchdowns, which is the DraftKings Sportsbook app. You need to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, and new customers can get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. All you got to do is use our promo code WPEK. That's code WPEK for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Anytime touchdown scorer this weekend, hey, maybe Juwan Johnson is a option for you this week. Maybe Juwan Jennings is an option for you this week.
One of them makes
maybe
a lot more sense
any
than
of
the
the Juwans you could bet on this week. You could bet on anybody that might touch the ball. Hey, you might be able to get Trent Scott for a prop at some point on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. You go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and download it now. Again, use the code WPEK. And new customers get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball.
What if you could hear your favorite song for the first time again? Introducing the all-new, reimagined Nissan Kicks. With an available Bose Personal Plus sound system that uses speakers in the headrest to create a 360-degree listening experience. You've never heard anything like this. Reimagine your music and your drive. Experience the all-new, reimagined Nissan Kicks for yourself at nissanusa.com today.
Available feature. Bose is a registered trademark of the Bose Corporation.
Hello, parents. It is Mr. Jim, and did you know it's time for story time? My podcast, Kids Short Stories, was created for our own kids. You see, my wife loved the stories I was telling to them at bedtime, and she wanted me to record them so that they could listen to them in the car or maybe during quiet time. It's now been downloaded millions of times by kids all around the world as we turn their ideas into amazing adventures. You see, kids send in their story ideas, and then I create an awesome adventure about them. Maybe they're stopping the bad guy, finding a lost treasure, or riding a unicorn through the clouds. With a new adventure every single day, we have a lot of fun together. And it also decreases screen time, which we all know that battle. Well, my friends, search for me, Mr. Jim, or Kid Short Stories. So listen to Kid Short Stories on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Are you guys ready for today's adventure? Me too, let's go!
Does your home need a new look? Step into a world of flooring possibilities at the Carpet Barn. Plush carpet, sleek hardwood, stylish tile. The Carpet Barn has it all. Whether you want comfort, durability, or that wow factor, you'll find it in their 300,000 square feet of flooring options. Find the perfect floor for your lifestyle and budget. Head to CarpetBarnCarolina.com for your free in-home estimate now. Veteran owned and operated. The Carpet Barn, the one-stop shop for flooring.
If you're anything like me, you survive all day Monday just to get to Monday Night Football. And I've found the best place in Asheville to watch it. Casablanca Cigar Bar, 18 Lodge Street in Biltmore Village or 411 North Main Street in downtown Hendersonville. Home to a state-of-the-art ventilation system and the largest walk-in humidor in western North Carolina, they also have $4 beer specials on Mondays, making it perfect for smokers and non-smokers alike. Make this and every Monday a Casablanca Monday.
Do better, be better every day. That's the Parks Promise. This is JW with Parks Fort Hendersonville, and I'm so excited to introduce our first Parks Promise community hero, the American Red Cross of Western North Carolina. The need for blood is so important, and in the summer months, the need is even greater. Did you know that you can donate every 56 days? Save lives this summer. Head to redcross.org to schedule an appointment or find a blood drive near you. Congratulations to the American Red Cross, our Parks Promise community hero.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. And did I mention that Clarissa Sells WNC loves teachers? We love teachers so much, we're giving back 25% of our commission at closing. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Showers, thunderstorms this afternoon, separate from our tropical system. Still could be some heavier downpours, 75. But I really think as we go on through tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, and maybe even into a part of Friday, widespread rain and thunderstorms around. At times, some locally heavy rainfall that could produce some significant flooding in spots. We'll have a severe weather element too, along with some gusty winds outside of storms. From the Weather Channel, I'm Ray Stajic.
This report is sponsored by Foundation Solutions.
Serving Western North Carolina for more than 30 years, Foundation Solutions has the expertise to fix any foundation problem you have. Foundation Solutions ensures a durable foundation that stands the test of time. Call 828-768-2208 for your no-cost consultation today.
At Ingalls, we're proud to work with hundreds of local farms and businesses in the communities we call home. Quality, freshness, community, it's all in the bag. Ingalls. Low prices, love the savings.
From the Ingalls studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
Live from the Ingalls studio,
I can't wait to play with myself every day.
the Sportsocracy.
Damn the devil to hell! Let the big dog eat! Let him on the field!
Come get you some of this.
Fire them cannons! By golly, put more powder in those things.
He couldn't take any more disappointment.
Oh my God, the Jets killed him.
The Sportsocracy is live in the Ingalls studio on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM and 1400. We're heard everywhere you go on the iHeart Radio app and seen everywhere on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link, subscribe to the channel. That way you can join us in the chat. We are talking fixable or fraud today on the program as we await week 4 of the NFL season to kick off tomorrow night. Thursday
with a barn
night.
burner between the New York Football Giants and the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, see, you're not excited about this, and I feel like this is a game that you should be looking forward to. We could see like some fist fights on the sidelines in this game, and that could be quite entertaining.
You remember when the Colts and the Broncos played, and I told you this is gonna be like watching paint dry?
Yeah,
I would be more excited about naked in a cave than I would be about the Giants and the Cowboys. You can tell me it was naked in a cave with the Giants and the Cowboys. And
no, sir, I'm not interested in that. I'd rather go to that body positivity seminar that you were talking about. At least I know I'll be amongst my people.
You'd look like the worst.
We
Where's Waldo
could all
ever.
support each other and tell each other how brave we are.
Hey, who's that feller? He doesn't look like he belongs here. All these dudes are in shape, and that one
All I
looks
know
like
is
Kirby.
when Lizzo shows up with the fruit, I'm leaving. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. Fixable or fraud? Baltimore Ravens. I mean, 3 weeks into the season, we're not ready to throw this baby out with the bathwater, so to speak, are we?
I will not say they're frauds.
Yeah, you will not say this is fixable?
This goes to what are your expectations again? Do I see any way that the Baltimore Ravens are going to go to a Super Bowl? No, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Do you?
No.
And that would lead me to say, I kind of want to say fraud.
But then are they just frauds by definition? Because they've been that for a while.
I think this build for Baltimore is flawed.
In the sense of I have given no weapons to my, or at least outside weapons, to my quarterback.
Well, you've got a team that drafts particularly well, that's built a line that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're special to any stretch. You count on a lot of guys that get hurt a lot, and I just think they've missed a window. I think there are a lot of dogs on this team. You just don't really have playmakers outside of Lamar Jackson. Even Derrick Henry, that everybody keeps telling me, oh, he's fifth in the league in rushing yards. And okay,
mm-hmm.
I get that, I really do. But I mean, there hasn't been a ton of pop to him outside of the game against Dallas. He had a huge game against Dallas. There's not been much else there, but he's fallen into the end zone in 2 games that he was averaging roughly 4 yards a carry.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a running back's supposed to do. This was supposed to add an element to this offense. I don't really feel that it has.
I feel like it might have if you had a second receiver.
Well, I mean, going into a season with, was it Nelson Aguilar and Rashad Bateman?
I don't know how you
did it. That was a fool's errand.
Yeah, I don't know how you did that. I don't know how we all saw it. We all saw you need another weapon on this team, and they just went, nope, not going to do it.
The funny thing is they probably have the best tight end room I've ever seen.
Well, I mean, what's the deal with Mark Andrews? I mean, is he cooked?
Yeah.
Or is this something he can snap out of? Has he just had a rough 3 weeks where Lamar's not finding him? Or is this just he can't do the things he used to do.
He certainly cannot do the things he used to do. He's 29 years old. He's not the most athletic guy you've ever seen in your life anyway, and he's coming off an injury year. He is what he is. He's not an elite tight end anymore. I would argue Isaiah Likely is better than he is right now, and I don't believe that's going to change. What does he bring you at this point? Because he looks markedly slower. Travis Kelce, I can show you the picture that explains why this is happening. Travis Kelce's grossly out of shape. Mark Andrews doesn't look much different than he did in the past. He's just way slower. And he doesn't seem to have that knack for getting open that he once did. I believe Baltimore came into this year thinking that was going to be their two, and he's just not.
And now you're having to flip on the fly here and make Isaiah Likely the two? Or is that all by design?
It is a struggle for me to say that Mark Andrews should be playing behind Isaiah Likely, but I do believe it. If you look at PFF grade, name me the list of tight ends that have been better than Isaiah Likely in the first 3 weeks of the season.
Well, let me guess, there aren't none.
Yeah, you want to hear it again? That's the fix to me. You got to kind of look at some of these guys and go, we're going to have to go in a different. I think Andrews still has a role. It's not as an every down tight end.
Right.
He doesn't look the part of an NFL tight end. And I'm not going to tell you he's not going to have big games. I think they're going to be really hard to forecast. But Likely's better. At some point, I do believe they're going to have to give a look to Tez Walker because I need somebody that can beat you over the top. Nobody's worried about Nelson Aguilar. They're just not.
No.
The book's out. I've read it. Even if he beats me deep, there's a 50% chance he's going to drop it anyway. I'm not going to give substance to that. And now I look at this offense. It has a lot of weight on Lamar's shoulders. He hasn't held up throughout entire years, even when that wasn't the case. So you're going to have to find something, whether it's Tylan Wallace, Tez Walker, or making a move.
But is that guy there? Is Tez Walker that guy?
Tez Walker is a guy that I believe can consistently win deep. The problem is he doesn't track balls particularly well. You saw it at the Senior Bowl. You saw it at the Combine. He kind of has a problem of similar to Nelson Aguilar. The difference is that he has legit big boy speed, legit big boy size. They're not playing him because he's not ready. But I would be putting some resources into getting him ready. Or making a move. I don't really care what happens. Right now, I'm worried about one guy on this team. Isaiah Likely is a solid – on a good team, Isaiah Likely would be the 3. You give me another option, and I think all of your problems are fixed. Offensively. Defensively, you don't have a pass rusher. You haven't had a pass rusher. I don't know how much Odafe Owa has to show you before you go, maybe we missed on this one. Now, he's a good situational pass rusher.
How do you fix the problem of not being able to close? You're up 10 points in the fourth quarter against the Las Vegas Raiders, and you end up losing with 27 seconds to go. This past week, you were up 28-6 on the Dallas Cowboys at the start of the fourth quarter, and that was a field goal game at the end. To me, those are major red flags of something is wrong here.
Can't close. Can't close. And just look at how different the narrative here would be if they had closed that game out against the Raiders. You'd be 2-1. You probably wouldn't be being talked about anywhere. I highly doubt we would have put you into this, even with letting the Cowboys come back. They didn't win. But you look at it 2 weeks in a row if you have been god-awful in fourth quarters. And there's a merit to saying you're not really built to close out.
Yeah. Well, now your defense is giving up nearly 300 yards passing per game, which is by far the worst average in the NFL. The next closest team to them is the Washington Commanders, who are giving up 40 yards less per game. That's not good.
They have a problem in the secondary. I think health would fix a lot of that. And I don't remember who it was now, but somebody in our YouTube chat said Marlon Humphrey was the most overrated player of their lifetime. I've heard that from a lot of people. I don't necessarily agree with it. I think he is a little overrated. But when I boil this down, it's not hard for me to figure out that Kyle Van Noy and Odafe Oweh are the only two guys that I'm legit worried can get home to a quarterback. And I know somebody's going to argue with me, well, Odafe was good against – look at who he's lined up against. He's freakishly athletic. He has developed no discernible move whatsoever. And that's a problem because you're good everywhere else. I think you have the best safety combination I've ever seen. They don't always play that way, but if you could get home consistently, the corner problems go away. If the corner problems went away, I think you could consistently get home. Which one is a more fixable problem? I would say it's the secondary. Because you have a lot of darts to throw at that board.
So, fixable.
I will say fixable, yes.
But fraud.
Playoff fixable, Super Bowl fraud.
Okay.
Because I see no path this team comes out of the AFC.
No.
I don't know how you're beating Josh Allen. I don't know how you're beating Pat Mahomes.
I don't either. Because you won't be able to keep up. They're going to hurt you if your secondary is continuing to be this bad. And your offense will not be able to keep up running the ball. You're going to have to be able to threaten down the field at some point. Hopefully Mark Andrews can figure it out, find the step, whatever step needs to come in that recovery process from last year's injury. Maybe there's still a second wind in there somewhere. You're going to have to find it. You're going to have to find an aerial game to balance out this offense, to be able to hang in shootouts, because you're going to get in them with this defense. Who else is fixable or fraud? No, coming up after the break, we're going to talk about the other dirty birds. Those birds from down there in Atlanta.
Before we go into the break, though, we do have a super chat on the way out.
Yeah!
It's from Matthew Hoffman. He's got a plus 17,000 parlay.
It's not going to happen.
It's a dog parlay. Now, it does break the poodle rule.
Clearly, at 17,000, it'd have to.
Well, this would almost break the spider rule. Vikings, Rams, Panthers, Saints, Commanders, Bills, Jets, all money line. I like the Jets. I like the Rams. I do not like the Panthers. Let me get out in front of this because I know this question's going to be asked a lot. Don't do that. Okay. I know it was fun.
But the Cincinnati Bengals are 0-3. They suck.
Hey, you could do that. I think too.
I did.
That was impressive. You worked on that.
I did.
El Rojo Rifle he's doing stuff, but it ain't gonna happen again. Don't fall down that rabbit hole. I see it coming too.
Oh, yeah.
Of people are going to inundate me because I get a lot of betting slips of this one pick burned my parlay. I just see it being the Carolina Panthers 57 times Sunday night.
Hey, they killed my parlays last week, so why not kill all the ones this week? I mean, people are, prisoners of the moment. We see Andy Dalton come in, and the offense looks good, and they scored 36 points this past week, and everybody's feeling hunky-spunky. We're coming back home. Home crowd's going to be engaged, right? It'll be much different atmosphere than it was week 2 when the Chargers came to town and everybody was sad.
Oh, yeah.
So now this week, everybody's going to be happy, and it's going to be just electric around that stadium. And then you're going to see Joe Burr show up with different hair color. I feel like he's taking.
I said that same thing. I was like, I bet you he's bleaching that back.
Oh,
He's dyeing that back brown.
He's done with the Slim Shady,
because
Ellen
Macaulay
DeGeneres
Culkin Burrow
jokes.
is not
Oh, yeah.
working.
He'll come in with a different hair color. He might come in with a mustache and just flip the script on this season, and you're going to find out how bad that Carolina Panthers secondary is against Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, all looking to make some kind of an example.
Live look at Charlotte Sunday. Yeah! Crickets. One more before we head out. Nick Watts. This was not a super chat, but I did want to cover this.
Oh, my bad.
This is a fantasy football question. Trade Puka Nacua for Zay Flowers. He's 0-3. I don't hate that. It really limits your ceiling, but if you go 0-4, you probably can stop setting that lineup. I would want a little more, but I don't know that you're going to get a little more.
Why would you not just hold on to Puka?
Oh, because if we're going to just, I'm 0-7. What am I going to do now? The best I could be is 7-7 when he comes back. It's not making the playoffs in most leagues.
Oh, is this just a season long, I guess?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the vast majority of the questions we get are season long. Although I did
get not playing Dynasty. You shouldn't even play if you're not playing Dynasty.
Oh God, you make my head hurt sometimes. I did get Joshua Brooks sent me a picture of his team, and I didn't say this when I responded, but I felt the urge to say it here. You draft real good. If that's not a dynasty, you're playing with toddlers, and if it is a dynasty, attaboy, because that was impressive. I'm not against trading the hurt guys. I'll be honest with you. That's one of my favorite games to play. I'll give you an example. I have Jordan Mason in a lot of leagues because I took him at the back end of drafts because a lot of CMC owners were just forsaking him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have him, and I keep poking the CMC owners because so many of them are 0-2 or 0-3 or 1-2. I'll give you Jordan Mason. I didn't plan on starting him anyway, but it's gonna cost you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm targeting Puka Nacua. I'm targeting some of the hurt guys. I can stash them. I don't care.
Right.
I have a handful of options.
Okay. Burnside says he hit a 17-leg parlay last weekend. Good for you.
That's solid.
I can't even make a 3-leg parlay hit. 17 legs. I can't imagine. Although that does seem, you must have taken like a whole bunch of
favorites.
I was gonna say a whole bunch of like minus 1,000 things to only win $741 on $4 on a 17-legger.
Oh,
I mean that's a great idea. I guess that's the way to do it. You take all of the favorites, the heavy favorites, and put them all together.
Oh, I want to say after the break, I'll tell you how much the heaviest of favorites, just betting them in the money line.
Yeah,
how much that would pay.
All right, you're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. Fixable or frauds? Let's talk Atlanta Falcons next.
What if you could hear your favorite song for the first time again? Introducing the all-new, reimagined Nissan Kicks. With an available Bose Personal Plus sound system that uses speakers in the headrest to create a 360-degree listening experience. You've never heard anything like this. Reimagine your music and your drive. Experience the all-new, reimagined Nissan Kicks for yourself at nissanusa.com today.
Available feature. Bose is a registered trademark of the Bose Corporation.
Did you know you can now use your body's own healing properties to revitalize your achy joints and get real lasting pain relief? I'm talking about advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. If you're tired of arthritic pain in your knees, hips, back, or shoulder, this is something you need to check out. Everybody's talking about regenerative medicine, and the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics are experts in these amazing treatments. People here rave about the results. You can enhance your joints, improve mobility, and get back to doing the stuff you love without pain and without drugs or surgery or downtime. Under the leadership of Medical Director Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting breakthrough using cellular therapies. They've got tens of thousands of satisfied patients, and the consultation is totally free. So call now. Take action to get lasting joint pain relief with help from QC Kinetics. Call 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
This summer, Dale's Pale Ale salutes freedom. freedom in fabric, or the fabric of freedom. Denim Dales available for a limited time in the blue jean box. Dales salutes everyone who works hard, plays hard, and relaxes hard. Life's more than about what you pack in your denim. Though we're packing beer, so we win. Seize the Dales. Unwind in style with a cool breeze up the jorts. Just look for the beer in the blue jean box.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. And did I mention that Clarissa Sells WNC loves teachers? We love teachers so much, we're giving back 25% of our commission at closing. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
Do better, be better every day. That's the Parks Promise. This is JW with Parks Fort Hendersonville, and I'm so excited to introduce our first Parks Promise community hero, the American Red Cross of Western North Carolina. The need for blood is so important, and in the summer months, the need is even greater. Did you know that you can donate every 56 days? Save lives this summer. Head to redcross.org to schedule an appointment or find a blood drive near you. Congratulations to the American Red Cross, our Parks Promise community hero.
Monday. It's America's least favorite morning, but their favorite night of football. And my favorite place to watch those games, Casablanca Cigar Bar. I love a good smoke and an old-fashioned after a long day, and nowhere does it better than Casablanca. Their state-of-the-art smoke ventilation system makes for a comfortable bar experience for smokers and non-smokers. Some just come for the bar alone. Stop by their Asheville location at 18 Lodge Street in Biltmore Village or in Hendersonville at 411 North Main Street.
The Sportsocracy.
We're just dumping a bag of hammers.
We are back on the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. Fixable or fraud? That's the game of the day. We're taking some of the teams that have struggled with the start of the season here.
Tank's confused by a comment.
I am confused by a comment in the YouTube here. GG Gambling. I am the novice gambler. So explain what this issue he has with gamblers like me is.
So where the reason that we have gambling houses and they tend to have gold fixtures is because a lot of people like Tank. I'll give you an example. Last week with Carolina. So you and Brian Hall came in here and immediately told me Carolina or Carolina plus 7.5. I'll take the Raiders for anything I want. Well, and that's fine if you get to Sunday and nothing's changed. When you take that on Monday, favorite bettors tend to really pour in a lot of money. All I need is a few of you to get burnt. Who scares a betting house, a casino, a sports book, are guys like me. That I look at bad lines and I'll start taking money lines. So, Ole Miss, South Carolina in 2 weeks. I'll have Ole Miss in the money line. I won't touch the spread because I don't like the fact that you're going into Williams-Brice. I'm not going to bet it heavy, but I will use that in the money line as a minus 400 and some parlays that can boost me up additional legs. What a sportsbook hates, and the example he gave us what I said earlier, is you got 92% of money on the Cowboys because Cowboy fans tend to be insane. So then you get somebody like me that goes, I love when the public goes right because I love to go left. So I'll throw in $1,000 on the Giants in the money line. It don't take many of those for you to have a bad week.
Right.
And your favorite wins? Okay. You threw a lot of money and made pennies. Now, if you take them against the spread, then you're more into like a minus 110. But even then, all you did was double your money.
Right.
That guy taking a dog, you can 5X your money. And some of those throw heavy weight solely because they see the public go one way.
Yeah.
And I do that a lot. That's how I have those numbers. When I say where all the money's coming from, that's why I have it. I pay a considerable amount to have that.
Yep.
It allows me to go, ooh, I love watching them. There go the sheep.
Well, last week was clearly not my week. I think everything I said on Friday, other than Juwan Jennings, I think everything else I said did not pay off.
I will be taking my segment back this week. I went back and listened to yours, and I went, man, that sounded so good for everything you said to be complete garbage.
Well, I mean, it was. To be fair, I did run all of them by you first to make sure I wasn't saying anything too stupid.
Well, I mean,
it just went, oh, wait a minute. The amateur guy wants to pick games. This is going to be fun. Watch this. World is telling me, sit down and shut up.
Yeah, dang, I'm not going to lie to you. You called me on a golf course when I was in the middle of one of the better rounds I've ever played in my life. You could have told me that you were taking Indiana Fever first quarter money lines, and I would have gone, sounds like a winner.
I tried.
I had just also banged out a triple tequila, so you called me and I went, whatever requires me to do nothing, I'm down. No. You did not listen to the thing that I said the most vocally, which was JMU. Take JMU. I said it for 2 weeks.
No.
That is the biggest sucker bet in the history of time. Now, won't be this week.
I didn't think that was possible. I honestly did not think it was possible that the Carolina defense would be that bad or that the offense would be that bad against a team that couldn't move the ball against Gardner-Webb. That's the thing that pisses me off more. It's like, wait a minute, Mac. We got some stuff to talk about.
Don't get duped by one game.
It wasn't just one game. They played like Elon the week before, and they weren't good against them either.
Yeah, and think about the psychology of that. You're JMU. You were in the top 25 last year, and now you're playing two directional schools from North Carolina that you've never heard of. They were probably on the golf course with me. All right, he's pouring another one. I got a game at noon, but if I don't have any more from right now, I could pour it. We're good.
This game makes no sense sometimes.
It's the only thing that makes sense to me. The world doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but football does.
Yeah. Not the Kansas City Chiefs, the Atlanta Falcons, who just almost beat the Kansas City Chiefs. If the refs hadn't had their whistle up their keister, they might have beaten the Kansas City Chiefs this past weekend. They're 1-2 to start out the year. The first game of the season, throw that one out. Like,
it was
I'm just forgetting Ferguson. I've just burned the tape. Let's not even go there. Let's just start. Season started with the Eagles game.
Season starts this week.
And then you scrap through and beat the Eagles, and then you had a great showing against the Kansas City Chiefs, and now you got 3 division games in a row for you to take control.
For me, this is not super hard to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
You take care of the Saints this week. And you do have to I'm going to tell you, I love the Falcons on this side.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you why. There's a hurricane coming. Travel is going to be a bit of a booger. Atlanta doesn't have to travel.
Mm-hmm.
They leave their houses, come to Atlanta. We're good. New Orleans has to rearrange all these things and travel in certain days because the hurricane comes through. Just mark my words. I like that one a lot. Now, the following week, they play Tampa in the Mercedes-Benz Dome. That really, to me, is the game that will tell me what Atlanta is because they should blister at Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
That secondary is everything that Baker Mayfield struggles with, which is probably why I will take Tampa Bay to win it. Because you win when you're supposed to lose, and you lose when you're supposed to win. I don't think Atlanta actually needs to do anything.
I don't either. I was going to say, I don't think this is the one team that we've talked about so far that I don't think anything's broken. I don't think they really fit the fixable or fraud narrative. First week, frauds. First week of the season, you came out, you looked inept at everything. You were frauds for 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
Second week, you win. Next week, you came out and took it to the champs. Should have beat them. There's nothing broken here for me. This is a team that's just figuring it out, and we'll see how it goes. You got to take every game with every NFC South team, right? It can be a roller coaster 1 week to the next, no matter how good these teams are.
The reason that they were on this list, and it's been asked a few times, you're 1-2. You have to be really careful with 2 divisional games here not to fall to 1-4. The bigger thing for me is Kyle Pitts. If you had told me coming into this year that 3 games in, the 3 leading receivers in this order for the Atlanta Falcons would be Darnell Mooney, Drake London, and Ray McLeod, I would have told you to go lay down in the back because you had too many crimes. But they are.
Mm-hmm.
If they could add Kyle Pitts as a legit piece of this offense, that they become scary. They become really, really scary because they're running well.
And I love the fact that Drake London's coming along, starting to make some plays, getting back into the end zone, getting a little bit more confidence. It's all coming together.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's coming together. You are 3 weeks in, pretty much where I expected you to be.
Yeah.
I expected you to be 1-2 coming into the fourth week of the season.
You just had the wrong losses.
Right. I just had you losing to the Philadelphia Eagles instead of losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The thing you got to remember about Drake London is that they're really finicky because he's not overly fast. He doesn't separate particularly well, so I need a quarterback that's pretty accurate. I said when Kirk Cousins signed in Atlanta, the biggest beneficiary was Drake London. The defense looks like it's going to get there. They just have to. They need somebody to jump up and go, I am the guy that can consistently win as a pass rusher, because they don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
And it can really make things look clunky because you got Jalen Hurts back there sitting for 5 seconds and nobody gets close. That could be a problem as time goes on. But I think one of these guys will show that they can do it. I'm just not positive of who that is.
No. You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville, Fixable or Fraud. We've got 2 more teams to talk about after the break. We'll also bring you the most important message of the day. Cleveland Browns, Cincinnati Bengals, Fixable or Fraud. Coming up next on ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Showers, thunderstorms this afternoon, separate from our tropical system. Still could be some heavier downpours, 75. But I really think as we go on through tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, and maybe even into a part of Friday, widespread rain and thunderstorms around. At times, some locally heavy rainfall that could produce some significant flooding in spots. We'll have a severe weather element too, along with some gusty winds outside of storms. From the Weather Channel, I'm Ray Stajic.
This report is sponsored by North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
Everyone goes through tough times. You don't have to do it alone. Dial 988. Talk with someone who cares and get to a better place. Call, text, or chat 988 24/7. 988. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by NCDHHS.
Hello, parents. It's Mr. Jim, and I want to invite your kids to listen to Kids Short Stories. You see, kids all around the world listen to Kids Short Stories and send in their ideas. And every single day, I create a brand new story about them finding treasure, stopping the bad guy, or flying on a unicorn. If you're looking to cut down on screen time, search for Mr. Jim. So listen to Kids Short Stories on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Going to big box retailers for batteries? Flag on the play. Locally owned Rainy Battery has the lowest prices on all your battery needs. Don't fumble when you can find everything from watch batteries to batteries for cars, RVs, trucks, golf carts, and more at Rainy Battery. Get brands you know and trust like AC Delco, Motorcraft for the lowest prices, plus custom battery cables made in-house. Go to rainybattery.com or stop in today for a quote. That's rainybattery.com.
Hi, this is Stu Rohrbaugh, and I'm running for Buncombe County Soil and Water Conservation District Supervisor in the November 5th general election. Make sure you register your vote today. Your vote counts.
This has been a public service announcement from iHeartMedia Asheville.
You trust me to pick Monday night football games? Now trust me where to watch them. Casablanca Cigar Bar, 18 Lodge Street in Biltmore Village, or 411 North Main Street in Hendersonville. Amazing bar specials, large televisions, and the best smoke in town.
Dan Scott here, inviting you to check out my new show every Sunday, 8 to 9 a.m. here on ESPN Asheville, where we bring sports and faith together. The Dan Scott Show, 8 a.m. Sundays on ESPN Asheville.
The season we've all been waiting for is here. No, not that one. The season of the Big Orange Tent is underway in Western North Carolina. The area's largest selection of Halloween costumes, decorations, and accessories is at the Big Orange Tent at the Asheville Mall. Halloween Express is your one-stop shop for adult and child costumes, superheroes, horror icons, inflatable suits. You can find it all under the Big Orange Tent at the Asheville Mall. 10 to 8 Monday through Saturday, 12 to 6 on Sundays.
Do better, be better every day. That's the Parks Promise. This is JW with Parks Fort Hendersonville, and I'm so excited to introduce our first Parks Promise community hero, the American Red Cross of Western North Carolina. The need for blood is so important, and in the summer months, the need is even greater. Did you know that you can donate every 56 days? Save lives this summer. Head to redcross.org to schedule an appointment or find a blood drive near you. Congratulations to the American Red Cross, our Parks Promise community hero.
It is the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. And it's time for the most important message of the day.
Don't do crimes!
Today I want to talk about AI just for a second, because I think we finally reached a point where it's way too far out of control. Jeremy, have you been seeing the AI videos that are being put out of fake NFL press conferences?
They're so easy to spot.
They are, and it's not like they're actually believable. Like, you can watch them and you could tell that this looks like some, I was going to say like PS3 type graphics. It looks like you're watching a clip from like a 2K video game. But the one that was posted out, I guess it was yesterday, from Andy Dalton, that was Andy Dalton's voice talking about Bryce Young and how he needed to sit his keister on the bench, although it didn't say keister. I would play it for you, but it is, expletive-laced. It's just getting out of control. And we're all going to get caught by this at some point. I have the greatest fear. That is like my greatest fear as a broadcaster, is the rise of AI and the nefarious things that can be used with all of the generators and such. And it seems that every week we have more and more warnings coming out about AI scams and getting phone calls from people claiming to be someone that they're not. It's a very concerning trend to me.
My story is also about a concerning trend, but it does have a happy ending. If you follow Reels and different things that you see on social media, you will see that there has been a disturbing trend on airplanes, and it is influencers putting their nasty, stank hooves up in the windows of airplanes.
Why?
Well, it's to show, I'm relaxed because I'm on vacation and I'm in the air. Keep your shoes on! But apparently now it has happened so often, and it has become such a problem for people like me, that airlines, including JetBlue, Delta, and several international airlines, Air Canada, Air France, and British Airways, to all say that if you take off your cruisers and unleash your wildebeest toes on the rest of us, you can be removed from this flight. I am in favor of it happening at 15,000 feet. Give them a parachute, throw them off. Get out. You gotta go.
For anyone who takes their shoes off on an airplane.
I have never in my life understood why people do that. Especially not when their hooves look like they could catch a salmon running downstream. Like, if the uniformity is the thing, and if you have toes that point north, east, southwest, and northwest, keep your damn shoes on!
Look, you can take your shoes off if you're responsible about it, right? Don't put your feet up in people's faces. Don't try to put them up on the seat.
I reserve the right to be the federal air toe exposing marshal. I'll take one look at them bad boys and go.
No. Don't expose your
toes. Now, just understand.
Don't travel without socks on.
No, just understand. Oh, I never wear socks. They're on the insole of my shoe. I will say this. Some people do have an attractive hoof.
Mm-hmm.
It's rare.
Mm-hmm.
Very.
Mm-hmm.
And most of those people have OnlyFans. But there is no responsible. Keep your damn shoes on, you nasty individual.
If your feet don't stink, don't have a problem with it.
I don't care if you washed them in the toilet before you came out here. I don't care. Keep your shoes on.
We're gonna disagree. We're gonna agree to disagree on this.
There's no agree to disagree. You're wrong and I'm right. Keep your damn shoes on.
No, I will take my socks. I will take my shoes off. I'll leave my socks on.
Look, Lurch, I've seen your feet. You should have to wear 2 sets of shoes at one time.
Hell no. You're crazy.
You've got hobbit feet.
Well, again, I don't travel without socks on, so that's not a problem. I'm not showing off my orangutan toes to just anybody.
You're the only
person. That's only reserved for the people closest to me.
You are the only person I've ever seen that could drink a Coca-Cola with your hoof.
Yes, I can.
Which is weird. Keep your shoes. I want you to sleep in shoes.
I can also throw a baseball with them things.
You're gross. Gambit fan, he has to wash them in the toilet. Where else you going to wash them? You ever been in an airplane? I mean, I got news for you. Bilbo Baggins over here ain't got the dexterity to wash them in the sink.
I don't need to because I keep my feet clean. I don't understand how that's so difficult.
Not enough.
Yeah, I do.
You don't keep them clean enough. Nobody does.
Oh, I do.
Nobody does. Stop it. Stop being gross. You wouldn't pull your magic clanger out and put that against the glass. Don't do it with your hooves.
There's a big old difference there, but
I am equally offended by both, frankly.
Yeah, well, that's a you thing. I don't understand how somebody with Rex Ryan tendencies is somehow the foot Nazi on airplanes now. That's weird.
First of all, I have a very attractive wife, so I'm into some things. So you keep your aspersions away from me.
An aspersion.
Hobbit
it's
boy.
A fact. It was a fact. I'm just pointing out the hypocritical nature of I love feet and then keep your feet away.
No,
that's weird.
I enjoy one set. Your set bothers me.
We're learning too much here about
Frankly,
you. We need to move on.
I maintain you should have to wear 2 shoes on both feet, just on the off chance that you rip one and a toe, one of your little piglets comes sticking its snoot out of that hole. I'm out. You grossman.
The 0-3 Cincinnati Bengals. Is it fixable or are they frauds? Opened up with a loss to the Patriots, lose to the Chiefs, a close one, and then they lose to the Commanders, also in a close one. I'm not hitting the panic button about this team, and I will believe that it is fixable unless they lose to the Carolina Panthers this week, and then fraud. There's no excuse for that. Andrew Dalton is not that good. There should not be the Red Rifle revenge narrative for this game.
I struggle with the Bengals because you have problems that I don't know how you're going to fix. You can't stop anybody running the ball. You're just weak on the interior.
But does that not change when they're healthy? When they get Sheldon Rankins and B.J. Hill back, which will be 3 or 4 weeks, does that problem not solve itself?
Well, I can't tell you that it won't. What I will tell you is that you don't have 3 or 4 weeks. Because, yes, you play the Panthers this week. Then you play the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
You got one with the Giants. Then you got the Browns. Then you got the Eagles. So all right, 5 weeks. You better come out of that 3-2 or better. 3-2, you're still 3-5. And at 3-5, you are getting into that. We're going to have to run the table to have a shot.
Mm-hmm. They've set themselves up in this situation because it seems to be the way Zach Taylor runs his teams. For some reason, we're not prepared to start the NFL season, which I feel like has probably been a big talking point in behind closed doors with the front office. I'm pretty sure they're sitting down with Zach going, why does this keep happening? Why do we keep having these slow starts to the season? And then we need Joe Burr to be MVP Joe Burr to bring us back from the brink of oblivion. But there's nothing you can do about that now. You've already dug the hole. Now you've got to figure out how to climb out of it. And in that next stretch, the Ravens and the Eagles would be the only teams that really scared me.
If you can sneak a win in one of those 2 games, you're fine. But you have to win all the other 3 that you're supposed to win.
The Giants don't scare me. The Cleveland Browns don't scare me. They used to when they could run the football, but they can't do that anymore. The Carolina Panthers are the third scariest out of that group after what they just did to the Raiders. But is there a chance that that Chuba Hubbard is going to go for another 100-yard game against the Cincinnati Bengals and Carolina win the game? I think that's highly unlikely.
I'm still stuck on the fact that you're more scared of the Panthers than the Browns.
Running the football? Would you not be after last week?
No.
I've seen
Chuba Hubbard.
I've seen Jerome Ford do nothing this year.
Well, it helps when you're behind. Yeah, I would be more scared. I'm not scared of Chuba Hubbard in the least. Although I do like him for fantasy football this week. I don't know that you have the weapons defensively.
Okay.
And that's where I kind of fall into this, is that you've missed on some draft picks that I don't know what you're supposed to do. Evan Doyle said the pass rush was supposed to be good. It's awful. Outside of Trey Hendrickson, nobody gets home. Ever. The front four I thought was going to be a strength. It's actually a weakness. The secondary is neutral at best. I think it's a weakness. And so you're going to get into a lot of shootouts. Now, here's where the positive comes in. Your offense is really good and actually has room to get pretty significantly better. I have no fear of the offense. And the defense is in the very capable hands of Lou Anarumo. I think they're going to figure this out. I do. I think they're going to figure this out. I think it's going to be okay. I don't know that they can make the playoffs. The AFC is just too deep. You're starting 2 games behind practically everybody that is a legit playoff contender.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be hard to deal with, especially when 2 of those 3 losses were against AFC teams. For example, the Jets are 3 full games ahead of Cincinnati now because their 1 loss was the NFC. That would worry me. Can they fix it? Yeah, because I've seen them do it before. This is not the first time that I've looked at this team and gone, man, there are deficiencies on that team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not sure that it's not going to be too late. Starting 0-3 it's not a death sentence, but it's pretty close. 0-4 is a death sentence, which is why they are going to go into Charlotte and hurt Kitty Cat feelings this week.
Speaking of death sentences, it looks like being a quarterback and going to the Cleveland Browns, no matter who you are, pretty much a death sentence. Because the Deshaun Watson thing's never going to work. It's finally broken me. I finally have no hope that Deshaun Watson is going to be anywhere close to what he used to be. And maybe it's like you said yesterday, Jeremy, maybe he can be, but in a different situation, in a different offense that's not Kevin Stefanski's.
Oh, he's never fit in this offense.
I'm not saying he's never getting another job. I'm just saying the experiment of Deshaun Watson in Cleveland, I'm done. And I bet everybody else has to be. Very few. It takes a special kind of Cleveland Browns fan to still believe that this thing can turn around.
I don't think Deshaun Watson has to be a special quarterback for this team to be good. You do have to figure out how to run the ball. Your offensive line has been horrifically bad.
Mm-hmm.
And your receivers haven't been good. Yeah, you added Jerry Jeudy with the expectation that he was going to stack on to Amari Cooper and stack on to Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore's been one of the worst receivers in the NFL. And Amari Cooper ain't that far ahead of him. Jerry Jeudy's actually been the best, most consistent receiver on this team. Not necessarily statistically, but in terms of playing football pillar to post, there's just not a lot to love here. Now you've got no David Njoku. The line's still just awful.
Mm-hmm. And absolutely killed.
And I don't know where you go from here.
Because your defense isn't playing well.
No. Outside of Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward. Those 2 are fine. But they're also not that difficult to get away from because nobody else is picking up the slack. I think the Browns are doomed.
I would agree.
Because I don't know how you're going to beat teams like Kansas City, like Buffalo, like Baltimore. even to a point like Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh's so good defensively, how are you supposed to score? One Deshaun Watson mistake in your own territory and you're beat, because I don't know how you're going to get down the field on them.
Right.
You didn't get down the field on the New York Giants. I just think it's time to tap out on because I would bench Deshaun Watson. I'll give Jameis Winston a shot. I get it, money, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I can't keep doing this. I've got to have a spark of some kind.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, as a fan of a team that Jameis Winston played for, he does have a weird way of rallying locker rooms.
But would you change quarterbacks while the offensive line is in such flux?
I don't care. I can't afford to keep losing games.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're gonna anyway. I mean, I don't see how you can keep throwing out Zach Zenter and hoping that just melds together and is fine. They just had to put Wyatt Teller on IR today, so he's done for at least the next 4 games. Jedrick Wills is out. DeJuan Jones is out. Actually, he got benched because he was so bad. They're still trying to rely on Jermaine Ifedi. Your offensive line is in shambles, and that's the one thing that...
I think Jedrick Wills come back this week, isn't he?
Maybe so. And look, at some point, hopefully the line does get healthier, and you can lather up. But I don't know that taking a chance on the backup quarterback with the hurt offensive line is going to give me the results I want.
Who has a better deep ball arm right now, Deshaun Watson or Jameis Winston?
I'd say it's Jameis.
Yeah, everybody always gets locked into the only way to fix an offensive line is that you have to fix the players or rearrange the players on the line.
Yeah.
No, you have to stop allowing people to just send the hellhounds at you because nobody's scared of Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody. The tape is out. He cannot complete a pass over 30 yards down the field. He just can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
If he does, it honestly catches you so far off guard that who missed what? Something had to go horribly wrong there. So, yeah, I would do it, and I would do it right now.
So the Cleveland Browns are frauds.
Yes.
And this is not fixable.
No. I don't even think Nick Chubb or anything like that fixes it. The line's too bad.
Right. Week 4 in the NFL. What will we learn this week? That is the real question. What will be our major takeaway? What will be our major overreaction on Monday's program? We will be right here with you in the Sportsocracy. Tomorrow, Friday, hopefully, we will have a full week of shows here.
That's the hope, as long as I don't have a boat, and I know you don't need a boat. I know for sure it's not sanctioned for interstate travel if I do.
We hope everybody stays safe throughout the weather that we're going to get tomorrow night going into Friday. All of our friends that live down in the Florida area, the Gulf Coast area, things are going to get hairy over the next 48 hours. It's going to be rough with Hurricane Helene coming in. We will be with you to get you set for the football weekend regardless, though, here in the Sportsocracy.
I still maintain this hurricane should be called Hurricane Brandy Lynn because it has going to mess your life up written all over it.
You just hope it doesn't put cigarettes out on your couch.
No doubt.
We will be back with you tomorrow at noon right here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. We'll see you then.
Does your home need a new look? Step into a world of flooring possibilities at the Carpet Barn. Plush carpet, sleek hardwood, stylish tile. The Carpet Barn has it all. Whether you want comfort, durability, or that wow factor, you'll find it in their 300,000 square feet of flooring options. Find the perfect floor for your lifestyle and budget. Head to CarpetBarnCarolina.com for your free in-home estimate now. Veteran owned and operated. The Carpet Barn, the one-stop shop for flooring. soaring.
Haywood Regional Medical Center is thrilled to welcome primary care physician Dr. Tony Lee to our staff this fall. Dr. Lee will practice family medicine at our new Haywood Family Practice Asheville location on Acton Circle, just off the Enka Candler exit on I-40. Dr. Lee is a local doctor returning home, bringing his expertise in primary care, a passion for prevention, and a commitment to lasting relationships with patients. Call 800-424-DOCS for an appointment. That's 800-424-DOCS or visit haywoodmedicalgroup.com.
It's bow time. Some classics never go out of style, like fresh egg, American cheese, and hickory smoked bacon on a made-from-scratch biscuit. But why stop there? Pair it with crispy bow rounds and a hot coffee or medium drink for just $5.99. Your morning deserves a breakfast that has it all, from the fluffy egg and crispy bacon to the melted cheese and, of course, a legendary Bojangles biscuit. Make it the ultimate breakfast combo for $5.99. Order in the app or at Bojangles. It's bow time.
Get on the campaign trail while you're on the road to work.
Every morning, Mark Starling gets you caught up with the latest election coverage.
On News Radio 570 WWNC.
Western North Carolina's election station.
It's TD season, baby. Tutties, taking it to the house, whatever you want to call your touchdowns. They matter more with the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code WPEK. That's code WPEK for new customers to get $250 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. And get 1 month of NFL Plus Premium only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus premium terms at nfl.com/terms.
It's time to kick off the perfect tailgate and take your team to Ingles. Chips and guac made fresh in store every day. The best meat in town packaged fresh every day. And smiling faces giving you their best every day. Let's be real. In the South, football season is our favorite season of the year. There's a lot to smile about, especially with deals like these. Ingles. Low prices, love the savings.
This summer, Dale's Pale Ale salutes freedom. Freedom in fabric, or the fabric of freedom. Denim Dale's available for a limited time in the blue jean box. Dale's salutes everyone who works hard, plays hard, and relaxes hard. Life's more than about what you pack in your dinner. Though we're packing beer, so we win. Seize the Dales. Unwind in style with a cool breeze up the jorts. Just look for the beer in the blue jean box.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Showers, thunderstorms this afternoon, separate from our tropical system. Still could be some heavier downpours, 75. But I really think as we go on through tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, and maybe even into a part of Friday, widespread rain and thunderstorms around. At times, some locally heavy rainfall that could produce some significant flooding in spots. We'll have a severe weather element too, along with some gusty winds outside of storms. From the Weather Channel, I'm Ray Stajic.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Wish you could save on home insurance? With Allstate, you could easily save and get quality protection. Yep, it's a win-win. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Celebrate the spirit of Oktoberfest in Asheville. Saturday, October the 5th at Pack Square Park. Oktoberfest features 20-plus local breweries, cideries, wineries, and distilleries. You can indulge in delicious German-style cuisine from local food vendors and dance along to the lively tunes of the polka band Lagerhosen. Get your tickets now at AshevilleDowntown.org. AshevilleDowntown.org. Proudly sponsored by iHeartMedia, Asheville.
Do better, be better every day. That's the Parks Promise. Our mission, to improve lives with every interaction. This is JW, General Manager at Parks Ford Hendersonville. Experience the Parks Promise today at parksfordhendersonville.com. That's parksfordhendersonville.com.
When it comes to electrical needs in Asheville, trust the experts at Grigg Electric. Veteran owned and operated, Grigg Electric is Asheville's #1 choice for electrical services. They offer a variety of electrical services for residential, commercial, or industrial installations in Buncombe, Henderson, Madison, McDowell, and Yancey counties. Call Grigg Electric today, 828-232-0021. That's 828-232-0021. Serving Western North Carolina since 1976. Online at griggelectric.com.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.